For 60 years of marriage to Lu Pingxing, we shared a loving bond and built a family with children and grandchildren, yet behind my back, he secretly withdrew my decades' worth of pension savings to purchase a double burial plot. 2 names were engraved on the tombstone, one was Lu Pingxing, the other, his eternal white moonlight, Qingniani, he said, Suiping. In this lifetime, I've done right by this family, by you and the children, but I failed Niani alone, in the next life. I only wished to find Niani again. When I opened my eyes again, Lu Pingxing and I had returned to the fateful year of 1961. This time, Lu Pingxing resolutely rushed toward his beloved, and I, without hesitation, turned and walked deep into the mountains. Lu Pingxing, in this lifetime, I want to live differently too. Opening my eyes, it was chaotic outside. Today was supposed to be the day Lu Pingxing came to propose to me, but who would have thought? Just as the betrothal gifts were carried through the door, Lu Pingxing suddenly changed his mind and started shouting about calling off the engagement. My father and cousins were so furious they wanted to beat him up. I opened the door and heard Lu Pingxing speaking to my parents in an agitated tone, Uncle and Aunt Li, I truly have no feelings for Suiping. I only agreed to marry her to repay your kindness in saving our family. But now I've come to realize that a marriage without love can never be happy. As Suiping's parents, I believe you wouldn't want to see her spend her whole life unhappy with me, would you? My father yelled in fury. What kind of bullshit love is this? You're already engaged to my daughter, and now you want to break it off. How is she supposed to face anyone in this village? Lu Pingxing pressed his lips together and dropped to his knees with a thud before my father. 1. Uncle Li. If you want to blame anyone for calling off the engagement, blame me, hit me, curse me, I'll take it all, but I swear on my life, I will never, ever marry Li Suiping. Seeing the determination in Lu Pingxing's eyes, I knew he had also been reborn. Lu Pingxing and his parents were sent down to our village from the city for re-education through labor due to their unfavorable class background. In my previous life, I fell in love with the refined and scholarly Lu Pingxing at first sight. Unable to bear seeing his family suffer in the cowshed, I persistently begged my father, the production team leader, to let Lu Pingxing's family move into our old house. When I saw Lu Pingxing working in the fields with his hands blistered, I asked my cousins to help him out. Noticing the Lu family had no food rations, I saved up my own and gave it all to them. Later, Lu Pingxing and his parents were taken to the commune for a struggle session. Lu Pingxing broke 4 ribs protecting his mother. I was nearly beaten to death by that gang. I had to use the dowry money my parents had saved for me over more than a decade, and I sold my own thick, glossy black braid that I'd grown for 10 years. Only then did I scrape together enough money to get Lu Pingxing to the county hospital for emergency treatment. After being discharged from the hospital, the Lu family expressed their deep gratitude for my life-saving efforts towards Lu Pingxing. Moreover, both of Lu Pingxing's parents recognized my genuine devotion to him. Under pressure from his parents, Lu Pingxing finally proposed to me. Yes, it was under pressure. Truth be told, I could tell in my past life that Lu Pingxing was never truly willing to go through with this marriage. Because, the day before the engagement, Lu Pingxing came to see me. We walked round and round the birch grove at the village entrance, until he saw Qingniani, who had been sent down to the countryside with him, shyly getting on the back of the commune propaganda officer's bicycle. At that moment, Lu Pingxing's face turned deathly pale. With trembling lips, he said to me, Tomorrow, I will come to your home to propose. In my past life, it wasn't that I hadn't noticed Lu Pingxing's special feelings for Qingniani. Unfortunately, at that time, I was already blinded by love. I naively believed that once we were married, I'd have a lifetime to make Lu Pingxing fall in love with me, but I was wrong. Dead wrong. In my past life, I spent 60 long years managing household chores for Lu Pingxing, raising children, and caring for his parents. It wasn't until his final breath that Lu Pingxing finally told me, all along, he never loved me for a single moment in his entire life. The truth is, he never feared death because, only in death could he finally be free of me. Only in death could he be reunited with his beloved. Lu Pingxing, you won't have to wait for the next life, in this lifetime. I'll grant you your wish. Fine, let's call off the engagement. I agree. I pulled the door open and stared coldly at Lu Pingxing. Lu Pingxing froze for a moment, squinted his eyes, and studied me for a while. Suddenly, he laughed. Suiping, you've come back too, haven't you? After saying that, Lu Pingxing pulled me aside and threatened in a hushed tone, Since you've come back too, you should know that in this lifetime, I am determined to marry Niani. In his past life, the reason Lu Pingxing could never forget Qingniani until his dying day, was because he always believed that Qingniani was beaten to death by her husband because of him. In our previous life, Qingniani died less than 6 months after I married Lu Pingxing. Rumor has it her husband, that propaganda officer from the commune, smashed a stool over her head. It all started when he found out she was in love with someone else, the man Qingniani kept hidden in her heart. The one she wrote about in her diary. That man is my husband, Lu Pingxing. The day news of Qingniani's death arrived, Lu Pingxing drank himself into a stupor and wept uncontrollably on the back hill. From that day on, he seemed like a completely different person. It was as if he had completely forgotten about Qingniani. He buried himself in work, desperately trying to win over every single member of our family. My father saw how well he treated me and the children, and how hardworking and dependable he was, so he helped secure him a recommendation for the Worker-Peasant-Soldier University program. After Lu Pingxing left for university, I was left alone to farm the land, raise pigs and chickens, care for my in-laws, and look after our 2 children. Though still young, I was worn down from all the labor, looking like a weathered rural woman in her 40s or 50s. Yet Lu Pingxing never looked down on me. After my in-laws passed away, he brought me and our child to the city. Everyone said I was blessed with good fortune. They all said Lu Pingxing was devoted and kind to me, but no one knew I had simply moved to a different place to continue working as the Lu family's nanny. Lu Pingxing worked as a university teacher with a modest salary, so to make ends meet, I pedaled a tricycle and shined shoes for people. In summer, I sold ice cream bars under the scorching sun, going from street to street. In winter, I braved the biting cold to sell roasted sweet potatoes at street corners. I never had a job my whole life, so there's no pension to speak of. I didn't want to be a burden to Lu Pingxing or the 2 kids. Bit by bit, I secretly saved up for 10 years, managed to put aside 120,000 as my retirement fund. But who would have thought that Lu Pingxing would take the pension I had painstakingly saved for 10 years, and use it to buy a luxurious double burial plot for himself and Qingniani? But what about me? I've worked myself to the bone for this family for half my life, wouldn't even buy myself a single new piece of clothing, mended the same pair of socks over and over, until the patches outweighed the original fabric. Even when my underwear was so full of holes it resembled a fishing net, I still couldn't bring myself to get a new pair. Every penny I earned was spent on Lu Pingxing and our 2 children. I only set aside 120,000 for myself. I thought to myself, when I get old and can no longer work, I will never burden my children. When the time comes, I'll use that money to find a nursing home for myself and Lu Pingxing, to live out our days as a happy silver-haired couple. Back then, with a heart full of sweetness, I had included Lu Pingxing in my retirement plans. Little did I know that I was never a part of Lu Pingxing's plans. Lu Pingxing, do you really think I would choose you again if I had another chance at life? Lu Pingxing made a grand, public display as he went to Qingniani's home with betrothal gifts to propose. I became the laughingstock of the whole village, but I knew Lu Pingxing wouldn't be laughing for much longer either. Sure enough, the very next day, the villagers heard that Qingniani had turned down the Lu family's marriage proposal. I've known all along that Qingniani, that capitalist's daughter, would never be able to handle the hardships of being sent down to work the land. That propaganda officer from the commune was also someone Qingniani actively pursued. Her goal was to marry a commune official so she could live a life of luxury in town, enjoying the finer things without ever having to work in the fields again. In my past life, I kept this from Lu Pingxing because I didn't want to hurt him. This time around, I have no intention of covering for Qingniani. To my surprise, Lu Pingxing stormed over to me and slapped me hard across the face. He roared at me, Li Tsuaping, what exactly did you say to Niani? Why won't she marry me? Did you tell her that we were married in our past lives, too? Holding my rapidly swelling cheek, I sneered and said, I told her nothing. Instead of doubting me here, why don't you go ask Qingniani yourself why she doesn't want to marry you? Or is it that you already know the answer in your heart, but you're just too afraid to admit it? Lu Pingxing's face stiffened, and he said in a flustered tone, I don't know what you're talking about. I stepped closer to him, staring at him fiercely, and said word by word, you just can't admit it. Qingniani looks down on you. She never wanted to marry you and live a life of poverty in the countryside. Barely scraping by, Lu Pingxing shook his head in disbelief. That can't be. Niani is pure and kind-hearted. She's always had feelings for me. How could she ever look down on me? Why wouldn't she want to marry me? I stepped closer, speaking to him with near venomous intensity. Of course she looks down on you. She despises you because you're just like her, a bad element sent down for re-education. She looks down on you because you're not a commune official. You can't take her to the commune and give her a life of luxury and comfort. Lu Pingxing, see for yourself, even without me, the one you've been pining for all your life, your white moonlight, still wouldn't choose you. With that, I raised my arm and, mustering all my strength, slapped Lu Pingxing hard across the face with a sharp crack. Lu Pingxing, we're even now, in this lifetime. We owe each other nothing, after that day. I stopped saving my daily eggs to give to Lu Pingxing. I also stopped asking my cousins to help him with farm work. My father, furious that Lu Pingxing's broken engagement made me the laughingstock of the village, took back our family's ancestral home in a fit of anger. Lu Pingxing and his parents had no choice but to return to the foul-smelling cowshed. After just 2 nights, Lu Pingxing couldn't take it anymore and stopped me by the roadside. Suiping, you can punish me however you want. But my parents are innocent. Although my parents weren't happy about me marrying you, they never laid a hand on you or spoke a harsh word to you. How could you make them live in the cowshed? Go talk to your father right now. Get the key to the old house from him so my parents can move back immediately. And don't forget this month's rations and eggs. I asked pointedly. What rations and eggs? Lu Pingxing flushed. Then said to me with an air of self-righteousness. Anyway, from now on, just like before, you'll give my parents 30 pounds of mixed grain flour and 20 eggs every month. I'll pay you back double for all this after I graduate from college and start working. Graduate from college? Lu Pingxing, do you really think you could have managed without my father and my brother's help? Do you honestly believe you'd have gotten that worker peasant soldier university recommendation in this lifetime without them? I didn't want to waste any more time arguing with him. So I hoisted my basket and turned toward the mountains. Lu Pingxing stopped me again. Where do you think you're going? I'm going to see my partner. What partner? Li Suiping. When did you start seeing someone? We just called off our engagement, and you already have someone new. Lu Pingxing glared at me with burning jealousy. I looked at him with a mocking expression. You went to see Qingniani yourself. What gives you the right to tell me I can't find someone new? Hearing my words, a faint smile flickered across Lu Pingxing's handsome face. Alright, I know you're jealous of Niani, but that's no reason to just grab some random person and pretend they're your partner. Suiping, I promise you, as long as you keep taking good care of my parents like you did in our past life, once I rescue Niani and bring her back to the city, worst case, you and her can live separately, one in the city, one in the countryside. Niani is kind and generous. She won't mind if I share just a little bit of love with you. She might not mind, but I damn well do. Suddenly, a tall and robust figure appeared on the mountain trail. I cried out in pleasant surprise. Brother Shanzi, what brings you here? Xiao Jishan walked up to me with a smile, his dark, deep eyes fixed intently on me. I came down the mountain to pick you up. I was afraid if I didn't come, my wife would be snatched away by some stray dog out there. Lu Pingxing demanded angrily. Who are you calling a stray dog? Whoever answers to that name must be the stray dog. I walked over to Xiao Jishan's side, turned to Lu Pingxing and said, weren't you the one who kept swearing to save your beloved Qingniani, if I remember correctly? Isn't today the day she's getting her marriage certificate with the commune's propaganda officer? Lu Pingxing's face turned pale, his expression instantly contorted, his body seemed to be torn between 2 opposing forces. A voice told him that Qingniani was the one he had yearned for and regretted his entire life, his eternal white moonlight. Given a second chance in this life, he was determined to win Qingniani back, no matter what it took. Yet another voice warned him, if he left now, he might truly lose Li Suiping forever. This voice screamed inside him, insisting he absolutely could not lose Li Suiping. Without Li Suiping, who would stay in the village to care for his parents in their old age and see them to their final rest. Without Li Suiping, why would the brigade leader ever grant the recommendation for a worker peasant soldier university spot to an outsider like him? But was he really going to give up the love he had cherished for 2 lifetimes? All for these trivial gains. He recalled how, in his past life, upon hearing of Qingniani's death, he had rushed recklessly to the commune, but what he saw was Qingniani, battered and bruised like a broken doll. Her once smooth, fair forehead was sunken from being struck by a stool, and dried blood stained her beautiful face. Lu Pingxing could bear it no longer. He hastily blurted out, Suiping, wait for me, let me go save Niani first. I swear I'll come back to marry you, then. Without looking back, he dashed down the mountain. Let's go, Shanzi. I turned around and walked into the mountains with Xiao Jishan, never looking back. Lu Pingxing, I won't wait for you again in this lifetime. The next time I saw Lu Pingxing was on my wedding day with Xiao Jishan. Xiao Jishan gathered a few of his buddies and went deep into the wilderness to hunt 2 wild boars. The villagers hadn't had meat in a long time, and they heard that Xiao Jishan gave my family 2 whole wild boars as a betrothal gift. The entire village came to see the spectacle. When Lu Pingxing heard I was getting married, he stormed into my house like a madman. Suiping, you can't marry him, you're clearly my wife. How could you marry another man? Before I could even speak, The villagers started shouting back at him all at once, "Who's your wife? Watch your mouth. Isn't your wife that Qing girl? Haven't you heard? That Lu fellow falls for every girl he lays eyes on." He even went to the commune official's house, making a scene and demanding Qing Yanni marry him, but Miss Qing wouldn't give him the time of day. "If I were her, I'd ignore him too." She finally landed a commune official, and he nearly ruined the whole engagement. Now he still wants to mess with Su Weiping, thinks he can marry the village chief's daughter. Has he even looked at himself? Can't even carry 80 pounds of rice. If I were Su Weiping, I wouldn't want a weakling like him either. Exactly. Look at Xiao Jishan. He's a great hunter, a hard worker, never runs out of energy. I bet he's, something else in bed too. Hearing the aunt's crude remarks, I blushed with embarrassment. Lu Pingxing was also flushed, but with anger. Only then did I learn that after Xiao Jishan and I left that day, Lu Pingxing had stormed into the commune and caused a scene. He insisted on reporting the commune cadres for allegedly coercing female educated youth. 3. But Qing Yanni immediately shut him down right then and there. In front of the commune leaders, Qing Yanni openly admitted that she and the propaganda officer were in a relationship of their own free will. She was very fond of the propaganda officer and was willing to become his revolutionary partner. There was absolutely no coercion involved. Lu Pingxing stared in disbelief at the woman he had been pining for over 2 lifetimes. How could this happen? Wasn't Yanni forced by the commune officials? Didn't she still think of him until her dying day? Why is Qing Yanni now glaring at him with such hatred, as if he were her sworn enemy? Yes, Qing Yanni now absolutely despises that meddlesome Lu Pingxing. Who does he think he is? Some kind of hero? He couldn't even manage to get her out of the countryside and provide her with a comfortable life, and now he dares to stand in the way of her marrying a man who can actually give her the life she deserves. Furious, Qing Yanni immediately reported Lu Pingxing, accusing him of having sexually harassed her. The one who actually tried to force himself on the female educated youth was Lu Pingxing. Lu Pingxing was locked up in a cowshed for half a month. By the time he was released, the woman he had been pining for had already become a cadre's wife. Having left with her husband, I, whom he had scorned, ended up marrying the hunter my parents had chosen for me. I sat on the little donkey while Xiao Jishan walked ahead, gently leading it by the reins. From behind us came the furious, despairing roar of Lu Pingxing. But in this lifetime, his joys and sorrows no longer had anything to do with me. Lu Pingxing, in this life, I'll walk my own path. You can take your own narrow road. Living as a hunter deep in the mountains is more leisurely than I imagined. Xiao Jishan's parents, though not talkative, are hardworking and kind-hearted, unlike Lu's parents, who looked down on me but pretended to be magnanimous while treating me like a servant. I had to fight every day just to snatch a bit of housework from my mother-in-law's hands. My mother-in-law even said that pregnancy would be hard on me later, so I should rest well while I still can, in my past life. After marrying Lu Pingxing, I saved all the fine grains, eggs, and meat at home for his parents to eat. Due to malnutrition, my firstborn weighed just over 5 pounds at birth and barely survived. For the rest of my life, Xiao Jishan and my in-laws were terrified of me going hungry. My mother-in-law said I was too thin and would steam a bowl of rice and a bowl of egg custard for me every day. Xiao Jishan also insisted I needed to nourish myself properly, every few days. He would bring back a wild rabbit, a pheasant, or a rat snake from the mountains, preparing various dishes of meat and broth for me. 2 months later, I actually got pregnant. My parents were overjoyed and specially carried noodles, eggs, and brown sugar up the mountain to visit me. Seeing Xiao Jishan make me a bowl of brown sugar eggs every day, my mother was absolutely thrilled with her son-in-law. She whispered to me privately, saying it was fortunate that the Lu family called off the engagement back then, otherwise, if I had married Lu Pingxing, I would have been doomed to a life of hardship. I lowered my head with a bitter smile. Isn't that the truth? In my past life, I got my wish and married Lu Pingxing, only to endure a lifetime of hardship. Not a single day in the Lu household brought me any joy. I saw Xiao Jishan bring me a large bowl of chicken soup, complete with a big chicken leg. My mother smiled contentedly, patted my hand, and sighed as she said, "Thank goodness that man Lu came to break off the engagement back then. So you didn't marry him. Who would have thought that Lu fellow turned out to be a madman?" My mother told me that Lu Pingxing had gone mad ever since I married Xiao Jishan. He went to the commune several times to pester Qing Yanni. He insisted that Qing Yanni had feelings for him and even secretly wrote a diary about him. They couldn't become a couple in their past life, so they came back in this one to make up for the regret. That really stirred up a hornet's nest. Qing Yanni is actually a family member of the commune cadre. Lu Pingxing not only harassed a married woman, but also told Qing Yanni that he was reborn from a past life. He thought that by revealing regrets from his previous life, Qingniani would believe him and follow him. To his surprise, Qingniani turned around and reported him right away. The charges were public indecency. Along with promoting feudal superstitions, word has it that Lu Pingxing was dragged to the commune for a struggle session. A man who'd always been so concerned with his dignity in his past life now had his head shaved in a humiliating yin-yang style. To make matters worse, Qingniani's husband had someone ambush him, breaking one of his legs. When old man and old Mrs. Lu heard their son had his leg broken, their whole world came crashing down, crying. She went around the village borrowing money, desperate to get her son to the county hospital. But before this, Lu Pingxing always acted superior in the village, relying on his father's support as the production team leader. He looked down on everyone, treating people with contempt. Lu's parents were in poor health and always held others back when working in the fields. Even when working in the fields, villagers refused to be assigned to the same team as the Lu family. Besides, Lu Pingxing was denounced by the commune as a notorious scoundrel who would lend money to such a family. Left with no choice, old man and old Mrs. Lu had to come begging to my parents. In my past life, after I married Lu Pingxing, his parents would often sigh deeply in my presence, making pointed remarks like, Lu Pingxing is the eldest legitimate son of the Lu family. Had our family not been sent down to the countryside, given our social standing, he should have at least married a young lady from an equally prominent family, not someone like me, a country girl who only knows how to farm, raise pigs, and do household chores. Now, Lu Pingxing's parents are absolutely furious with him. They could just about kill him. He even came to my house with betrothal gifts to propose, although their son marrying a village girl didn't sit well with them. But as long as he marries the daughter of the brigade leader, they not only get a free servant like me. Once Lu Pingxing gets married, he won't keep messing around with that troublemaker Qingniani anymore. He almost lost his life. I heard that old man Lu and his wife were crying so hard at my doorstep they nearly passed out. They begged my father to lend them 200 yuan to send Lu Pingxing to the county hospital for surgery. Who in their right mind would lend 200 yuan to a complete stranger? Besides, 200 yuan back in the 1960s was an absolute fortune. Our family had plenty of able-bodied workers, so we could actually spare 200 yuan. The catch was that 200 yuan was my parents' hard-saved dowry money they'd been putting aside for me for years. Now that I'm married to Xiao Jishan, that 200 yuan naturally became part of my dowry. It came with me as part of the bridal trousseau to the Xiao family. Upon hearing this, old Mr. and Mrs. Lu were filled with bitter regret. Originally, if Lu Pingxing hadn't broken off our engagement, that 200 yuan dowry had long been in the Lu family's possession. It's just a shame that it was all too late. It wasn't until over half a year later that I saw Lu Pingxing again. At 8 months pregnant, I gave premature birth to a set of twins, a boy and a girl. Since I had twins, both my mother and mother-in-law were terrified I might develop any postpartum complications. They insisted I complete the full 2-month postpartum confinement period. After the confinement, Xiao Jishan and I took the children back to my parents' home. Unexpectedly, at the village entrance, we saw Lu Pingxing leaning on a cane. He's changed so much I almost didn't recognize him. In his previous life, Lu Pingxing had already become an honored worker peasant soldier university student by this time, wearing an army green shirt, with the new pen I gave him tucked in his breast pocket. He exuded an unmistakable air of scholarly refinement, but now, Lu Pingxing hobbled along on a crutch, dragging his lame leg. He still wore a white shirt, but it was so filthy you couldn't tell its original color, patched in several places. In his previous life, after getting into university, Lu Pingxing lived on state-subsidized food stamps and the cured meat and eggs I scrimped to save for him, eating so well his face glowed with health. In this life, because he harassed Qingniani and was publicly denounced by the commune, Lu Pingxing lost all chance of being recommended for university. With no university food stamps to rely on, and no fool like me to scrimp and save from my own meals to feed him, Lu Pingxing was emaciated from hunger, his face ashen and barely able to stand. When he saw me, Lu Pingxing dragged his broken leg, trembling unsteadily as he made his way toward me. With tears welling in his eyes, he looked at me and said, "Suiping, you've finally come back. I'm so sorry. In our past life, I was wrong. I truly wronged you. Now I finally see Qingniani for who she really is. She's nothing but a shallow, gold-digging woman who's only there for the good times, never the bad. You're the only one who's ever truly cared for me. Suiping, I swear, this lifetime I won't go looking for Qingniani ever again. Let's just go back to how things were. I'll go off to university, and you'll stay here in the village, taking care of the home and family. Once I graduate and get assigned a job, I'll bring you to the city as soon as possible. And then what? Spend the rest of my life slaving away for your family, wait until I'm old and worn out, then use my life's savings to buy a fancy double burial plot for you and your true love. Lu Pingxing shook his head urgently. No, Sui Ping, believe me, in this lifetime, I only want to be buried with you. Xiao Jishan laughed in exasperation. Sui Ping is my wife, even in death, she'll be buried with me. Who the hell do you think you are? Lu Pingxing glared at Xiao Jishan with resentment. Sui Ping was my lawfully wedded wife. In our past life, she married me and we spent over 50 years together. Hearing him ramble on about past lives again, a bunch of village kids picked up clods of dirt from the ground and started throwing them at him. As they pelted him, they shouted insults, calling him a feudal landlord. Lu Pingxing was battered and bruised, yet his eyes shone with hope as he looked at me. In our past life, Lu Pingxing was also bullied in the village from the start due to his low social standing. Time and again, I stepped forward, shielding him behind me and scolding away those who tormented him. But later, Lu Pingxing claimed that what he despised most was my fiery, unyielding temperament. If you don't think much of it, then just forget about it. In this lifetime, holding my little daughter. I tugged at Xiao Jishan's sleeve. Brother Shanzi, let's go. We're heading home. Xiao Jishan carried our eldest son, held my hand, and strode toward the direction of our home. From behind came the agonized, desperate roar of Lu Pingxing. It wasn't until I got home that I understood why Lu Pingxing had said those words to me earlier. It turned out that after being sent by the commune to a cowshed for re-education and later released, he still couldn't let go. He secretly went back to the commune to find Qingniani. To his shock, he discovered that Qingniani hadn't written diaries for him alone. Before being sent down, Qingniani crafted personalized secret crush diaries for several wealthy young masters around her, hoping to marry into money. Her plan was simple. If any of them showed interest, she'd let them accidentally discover the diary meant just for them. That way, she could not only secure a wealthy marriage but also win her future husband's heart. But as it turned out, those diaries never got a chance to be used. The whole lot of them were sent down to the countryside for re-education. After marrying the commune official as she'd hoped, Qingniani had intended to destroy those secret crush diaries. But then it occurred to her, what if policies changed someday and the Lu family returned to the city? Thinking of the Lu family's immense wealth, Qingniani quietly hid those diaries away. That day, Lu Pingxing witnessed with his own eyes as the man pulled out those diaries. Then, with a vicious slap, he sent Qingniani tumbling to the ground. He pressed her, demanding to know which man written in those diaries was Qingniani's secret lover. In that moment, everything finally became clear to Lu Pingxing. It turns out, she was the one true love of his life. In this life and the last, he was nothing but her backup plan. He actually threw everything away for such a shallow, materialistic woman. He betrayed a wonderful woman who had loved him her entire life. He watched helplessly as Qingniani was beaten bloody and unconscious by that man. Lu Pingxing did not rush in to save her. He simply walked away coldly and quietly. He no longer wanted any idealized fantasy. No matter how perfect the moon may be, it's still hanging high in the sky, utterly useless to me. He ought to go win Li Tsuiping back. Only Li Tsuiping would wholeheartedly stand by his side through thick and thin. Only she would help him secure that worker-peasant-soldier university recommendation, make him the renowned professor he was in his past life. Lu Pingxing still wants to keep pestering me, but my parents, my cousins, and my husband Xiao Jishan, none of them are pushovers. Lu Pingxing tried to corner me by the river, but Xiao Jishan kicked him into the creek, leaving him covered in mud. Lu Pingxing wanted his mother to come to my house to plead his case. The moment Lu's mother stepped through the door, my mother grabbed a manure ladle and splashed a full scoop of filthy water right in her face. I never saw Lu Pingxing again after Xiao Jishan and I returned from my parents' home with the children. When the twins turned 1, my in-laws prepared 2 tables of delicious dishes and invited my family over for the children's first birthday grab ceremony. It was from my cousin's wife that I heard Lu Pingxing's name for the very last time. Lu Pingxing was dead. Rumor had it he didn't die in the village. Instead, he stole the production team's official seal and secretly wrote himself a letter of introduction. Then, he took what little money and ration coupons the Lu family had left. He left a letter saying he was going to Ning province, 1,000 miles away, to end his life. In the letter, Lu Pingxing sounded completely unhinged, rambling to his parents about how he planned to die in Ning province, the very place where his death in a past life had granted him rebirth. In this life, he insisted on dying in Ning province again. That way, once he is reborn again, we can be husband and wife for a lifetime, just like we were in our past life. No one knows whether Lu Pingxing was actually reborn after his suicide. The villagers only knew that Lu Pingxing had brought nothing but misery to his parents. Stealing the production team's official seal, that's a crime, you know. Even though Lu Pingxing ran away, aren't his parents still stuck in the village for reform? In this lifetime, Lu's parents were implicated by their own son and soon sent to a harsher labor camp for re-education through hard labor. Mrs. Lu had always been in poor health. In our previous life, it was only through my meticulous care, saving every bit of good food for her, that she managed to live another decade or so. This time around, without a fool like me to keep her going, Mrs. Lu fell gravely ill and passed away less than 2 months after arriving at the labor camp. With both his wife and son gone, Mr. Lu was utterly devastated, drifting through his days in a daze. One day, Old Man Lu was assigned to haul night soil when he lost his footing and plunged headfirst into the cesspit. By the time they fished him out, he had already stopped breathing. The irony is that Lu Pingxing, who in his previous life splurged over 100,000 on a lavish tomb for his unrequited love, this time around, he even secretly took the money his parents had saved for their old age and funeral expenses. With no money for a proper burial, the farm had someone dig a pit, wrap the 2 bodies in a straw mat, and buried them right there. I can't help but wonder, if there really is an afterlife, would Lu's parents have strangled their unfilial son the moment he was born? But everything about the Lu family is none of my concern anymore. In this life, I married Xiao Jishan, who cherishes and adores me. We were blessed with a pair of adorable twins, a boy and a girl. The best is yet to come for me. Story 2. In my past life, the plane I was on tragically crashed, leaving my best friend Lin Lin severely injured. My boyfriend suggested abandoning her, but I couldn't bear to. I carried her on my back through miles of frozen wilderness. Just 10 meters from the shelter, completely exhausted, I collapsed. My boyfriend picked up Lin Lin and said, Ran, I'll get her inside first, then come back for you. But he never returned, and I froze to death waiting. After death, my spirit drifted into the cabin only to see Lin Lin nestled in Lu Wen's arms. You're so brilliant, Wen, she murmured, you saved me, conserve your strength. And ditched that insufferable song Ran all at once. Only then did I realize how foolish I'd been, given a second chance at life. When my boyfriend suggested abandoning my best friend in the snow, I agreed without hesitation. 1. In my past life, the plane I boarded crashed in a desolate snowfield. Only 5 of us, a group of friends, survived the plane crash, but my best friend Lin Lin's leg was injured, and she couldn't walk at all, luckily. My boyfriend Lu Wen is a pediatrician and knows some first aid. After he simply bandaged Lin Lin's leg, he suggested we head south together. The plane crashed north of 45 degrees north latitude. It's almost impossible for people to walk from the frigid zone to the temperate zone, but there's no other way right now. After all, moving together in one direction is the safest bet. Just then, Lu Wen, my boyfriend, who has always dedicated himself to saving lives, actually suggested we leave my injured best friend, Lin Lin, behind and the 4 of us continue on to find shelter. We'd come back for Lin Lin after we found help. I immediately rejected Lu Wen's callous suggestion, but he retorted, Song Ran, don't be stubborn. This is a matter of life and death. It's already 20 below zero, and it's still daytime. If we don't find shelter before nightfall, all of us will die here. My heart sank, but I knew Lu Wen was right. We had just managed to scavenge a few barely warm clothes from the deceased passengers near the plane, but in this frozen wilderness, it's clearly not enough. My thin sneakers offer zero insulation. My toes are already numb with pain from the cold. Without a hat or long hair to protect him, Lu Wen's ears are nearly frostbitten. If we able-bodied people are suffering this much, abandoning the injured Lin Lin would mean leaving her to freeze to death in this icy wasteland. The me from my past life would never have had the heart to refuse, hearing Lin Lin's painful moans and seeing the plea in her eyes. But having been through this once before, I already knew Lu Wen and Lin Lin had been sneaking around behind my back. Lu Wen said that because he knew my temper all too well. In most cases, when someone gets hurt in a team, especially if it's a petite 158 centimeters girl, it's usually the taller guys who end up taking care of her. Though Lu Wen was involved with Lin Lin, his selfish nature kept him from lifting a finger to help. Behind my back, he exchanged a knowing glance with Lin Lin, who immediately took his cue and turned on me. In my past life, this was when I foolishly caved in, ignoring my own precarious situation and enduring everyone's complaints about us being deadweight. I stubbornly carried Lin Lin the whole way. The frigid, bone-dry air scraped through my lungs like a razor blade, especially with someone less than 10 pounds lighter than me on my back. My breathing grew heavier and more ragged, and the pain intensified. Still, I gritted my teeth and endured. After what felt like an eternity, Zhao Xiaojiang, one of the guys with me, spotted a small cabin in the distance and let out an excited cheer. Look, a house up ahead. Where there's a house, there are people. Come on, everyone, hang in there. Perseverance is key. Just then, Lu Wen, who had been walking ahead the whole time, completely oblivious to my struggles and discomfort, suddenly stopped and waited for me. I thought it was because hope was finally within reach, and he no longer saw Lin Lin as a burden, so his conscience kicked in, and he was finally willing to lend a hand. But wouldn't you know it, he's so incompetent he messes up everything he touches. As he turned to take Lin Lin from my back, he accidentally stepped on my foot, and that, right there, was the straw that broke the camel's back. After walking in the snow for so long, my sneakers were freezing cold, and my toes felt like they were about to fall off from frostbite. Lu Wen's kick landed squarely in a critical spot, instantly shattering my toes and leaving me in too much pain to even stand, especially since I was already completely drained, having pushed myself this whole way, fueled only by the belief that I'm carrying 2 lives. To put it simply, I was running on fumes. Now, that last bit of resolve suddenly snapped, and the pain from my injury was so intense that I collapsed into the snow. When I finally recovered and tried to stand up again, I realized I simply couldn't. Before Lu Wen carried Lin Lin away, he told me, Ran, you're quite a bit heavier than Lin Lin. Wait here while I carry her to the cabin and recover my strength. Then I'll come right back for you. Am I heavy? Although I'm 10 centimeters taller than Lin Lin, I only weigh 6 or 7 kgs more. And now, my boyfriend chose to save someone else first. Just because his girlfriend was 6 or 7 pounds heavier than other girls, it would be a lie to say I wasn't bothered, but my upbringing taught me to let the weaker ones go first in times of danger. Lin Lin was injured and had always been physically weak, so she qualified as weak. It was only right for Lu Wen to take her first, I told myself, trying to find comfort in that thought. But what I didn't expect was that Lu Wen never came back after he left, and so I froze to death on the snowy plains. Later, the rescue team arrived, found the 4 people in the cabin, marveled at the miracle, and brought them to safety. I'm not sure if it was due to the unique environment of the snowy plains, but my soul remained right beside my body. As I watched them being rescued, Lu Wen held Lin Lin close, comforting her softly. His expression and tone were more like a couple's than they ever were when he was with me. Lin Lin snuggled into Lu Wen's arms and whispered, Wen, you're so clever, you saved my life, conserved your own energy, and got rid of that annoying Song Ran. So this was how it all happened. I was instantly thunderstruck. Lu Wen, however, looked smug. Exactly, how else was I going to make room for you? The rescue team leader, with his exceptionally sharp hearing, actually caught the hushed whispers of the adulterous couple. He shot them a glare and immediately barked an order. Search again, see if we missed any survivors, Lin Lin grumbled. Oh, what's the point of looking anymore? Let's just go. It's freezing. It's so cold out here on this snowy plain. Who else could possibly be alive besides those in the cabin? Captain, there's someone else here. A quick-witted team member discovered me. Sigh, what a shame. My body's already stiff. It must have been gone for a while. The captain walked towards me, and despite Lin Lin and Lu Wen's constant grumbling about bad luck, he brought my body back home. Thinking of this, I thanked heaven for giving me a chance to be reborn. Too, faced with Lu Wen's rhetoric, which was identical to that of my previous life, this time I nodded, finding it quite reasonable. Yes, this might be the best way. The moment I said that, the already frozen air became even quieter. Song Ran, what did you say? Lin Lin, sitting on the ground, looked up at me in disbelief. Otherwise, we won't find a better solution, don't you think? I stopped foolishly taking all the blame myself and instead threw the problem back at them. The 4 of them exchanged glances and fell silent for a moment. Lu Wen and Lin Lin, of course, were on the same side. Zhao Xiaojiang and Hu Sisi were originally good friends invited by Lin Lin. Honestly, among the 5 of us, I'm the only true outsider. The other 3 are all closer to Lin Lin than I am. So there's no reason for me to stick around, but I still underestimated Lin Lin's audacity. Song Ran, I can't believe you're such a selfish person. My foot is injured this badly. Are you just going to abandon me here and leave me to die? I deflected. Hey, that wasn't my idea. You heard it yourself. I agree Lu Wen's suggestion was cold and heartless, but it does make some sense. Alright, since what the 2 of us say doesn't really count, let's have a show of hands among the 4 of us. Do we take Lin Lin with us or leave her here? Oh, and Lu Wen and I don't need to vote. We've already stated our opinions. Zhao Xiaojiang, Hu Sisi, what do you 2 think? It was already clear that 2 of the 4 people were against taking Lin Lin with them. If either Zhao Xiaojing or Hu Sisi said no to bringing Lin Lin, she would be left behind. If both of them agreed to take Lin Lin, it would be a 2-2 tie. But the heavy lifting would definitely fall to whoever suggested bringing her along. Lu Wen and I would naturally be off the hook. Lin Lin's hopeful gaze turned to Zhao Xiaojing and Hu Sisi again, and their eyes began to dart away uncomfortably. How about we just go with Lu Wen's suggestion? There really isn't a better option. I quickly chimed in. Exactly. It's a good thing Lu Wen is decisive and can make a call, otherwise we'd just be dithering here and wasting a lot of time. Hearing this, Lin Lin immediately shot Lu Wen a disapproving glare. Exactly. If it weren't for his terrible idea, we wouldn't have decided to abandon her so quickly. Under the weight of Lin Lin's stare, Lu Wen wavered again. Song Ran, maybe we should take Lin Lin with us after all. I feigned confusion. Weren't you just complaining that Lin Lin was dead weight? He frowned with displeasure. I just couldn't process the plane crash reality at first, hence the outburst. But I never expected you all to be so heartless as to leave someone to die. Anyway, we can't abandon Lin Lin here alone. Then he turned to me. Song Ran, could you really bear to let your best friend freeze to death in the snow? Faced with Lu Wen's baiting, I deliberately remained non-committal and played innocent. These are extraordinary times. We must consider the bigger picture. I can't just follow my personal whims. Lu Wen and Lin Lin were absolutely livid, since we weren't at the point of utter exhaustion or life or death desperation yet. Their sense of shame remained intact. Neither could bring themselves to outright ask me to carry Lin Lin. After all, both men stood at 6 feet tall with gym-honed physiques. They'd probably be too embarrassed to voice what they were really thinking. Realizing I was a tough nut to crack, Lu Wen turned to Zhao Xiaojing instead. What do you think, Xiaojing? This decision falls to Zhao Xiaojing. Whoever makes the final call to abandon Lin Lin will bear the heaviest psychological burden and guilt. Conversely, whoever decides to take her along will shoulder the greatest physical workload. Zhao Xiaojing scoffed irritably. Weren't you just saying we should leave Lin Lin behind? Stop playing the saint now. If you've changed your mind, just carry her yourself. No one's stopping you. No need to consult us about it. Lu Wen and Lin Lin glared at Zhao Xiaojing with such intensity they might have burned holes through him. I gave Zhao Xiaojing a silent thumbs up. If only I had been as slippery as him in my past life, I wouldn't have suffered such a terrible fate. Zhao Xiaojing wasn't much help, but Hu Sisi seemed to genuinely care for Lin Lin, as she hesitantly said, Xiaojing, Lin Lin has been our friend for so many years. How can you just give up on her like that? Lu Wen, Song Ran, maybe we should just bring Lin Lin along. Lu Wen immediately chimed in. I agree. I was just feeling bad about it. You two are such good friends with Lin Lin. If we left her here just because of something I said, I'd never forgive myself. Lu Wen's words implied he was trying to push Lin Lin back onto me and Hu Sisi, but I wasn't about to give Lu Wen a chance. I chuckled as I took the food-filled backpack off his back. Lu Wen, what are you talking about? Under such harsh conditions, you're still willing to carry Lin Lin. You're my hero. I slung Lu Wen's bag onto my own back and cheered him on in a high-pitched voice. Go, Lu Wen, go. Lin Lin is even lighter than me. Since you can carry me, carrying her will be a piece of cake. 3. In the end, Lu Wen, having no other choice, had to carry Lin Lin. I actually considered whether I should leave Lin Lin here to die, just like my past self, but on second thought, that would let Lu Wen off too easy. Let's see how long their lovey-dovey act lasts without me doing all the heavy lifting for those 2 cheating scoundrels. Can't tell if Lu Wen's genuinely incompetent or just making excuses. He stopped halfway down the path I'd taken in my previous life, gasping for breath after setting Lin Lin down. I can't go on. Song Ran, quick, switch with me. Out of the 4 people here, they only asked me. Everyone knows how to act, right? I pretended to misunderstand Lu Wen's meaning and excitedly ran towards him. It's finally my turn. Lu Wen, you're so kind. How did you know I was exhausted? I sprang onto Lu Wen's back, catching him off guard and pulling him to the ground. Song Ran. What are you doing? Lu Wen was furious, but his voice was barely a whisper. I guessed, like my past self, he was too weak to even speak properly. I pouted innocently. Didn't you say it was my turn? I thought after carrying someone else for so long, you'd finally remember to carry your own girlfriend. Isn't that right? Lin Lin was furious. Are you saying, Wen, that you'll carry me instead? Oh, I misunderstood then. But what do we do now? Lu Wen just lost his footing. And I twisted my ankle when I fell off his back. I looked at Lu Wen helplessly. Looks like you'll have to keep carrying Lin Lin. With that, I stood up and limped away, leaving Lin Lin and Lu Wen behind. 4. We'd been walking for what felt like ages. The sky was darkening, but there was still no sign of the cabin. It seemed Lu Wen's stamina was still no match for my past self. His sluggish pace was starting to annoy Zhao Xiaojing. Lu Wen, this isn't working. We're moving too slowly. Let's do what you suggested earlier. Leave Lin Lin here for now, and we'll come back for her once we've recovered. Lin Lin's frostbite was worse than ours, as she hadn't been able to move her limbs for so long. Plus, the guy carrying her wasn't as careful as I was in my past life, constantly jostling Lin Lin's injured leg along the way, so, even though she wasn't walking, her leg injury still worsened. I scoffed inwardly. In my past life, when I carried Lin Lin, I was so dedicated, terrified of hurting her, yet, she acted like a spoiled princess, first complaining I was too fast and her leg hurt, then that I was too slow and we wouldn't find shelter before dark. In the end, I carried her to within an inch of survival, only for her to abandon me in the freezing wilderness. I can't believe Lu Wen is carrying her this time. She didn't even dare to utter a peep. Lu Wen was about to say something else when Zhao Xiaojing cut him off. If you still want to carry Lin Lin, we're certainly not going to stop you, but you'll have to slowly carry her and catch up with the main group on your own. We can't wait any longer. With that, he looked up at the sky, which was now almost completely dark. On the vast, deserted snowfield, all was silent, as if there was no end in sight. The biting northwest wind chapped everyone's skin. I couldn't help but shiver. 5. To everyone's surprise, I still chose to carry Lin Lin this time. My stamina is still good. I won't hold the team back. Lin Lin looked touched. Ran, you really are my best friend. I didn't respond, but instead proposed. But I have one condition. I'm worried about falling behind while carrying Lin Lin, so I need to walk in the middle. Everyone there was originally Lin Lin's friend, and leaving her behind was a last resort. Now that they saw I was willing to stay with her without holding up their progress, they naturally had no objections. With the experience from my past life, I carried Lin Lin and walked much faster than Lu Wen. Suddenly, Lu Wen's impatient voice came from the back of the group. What's wrong, Cici? You're not thinking of asking me to carry you too, are you? I'm telling you, I'm completely out of strength. Cici, who was behind me, looked confused. Lu Wen, what are you talking about? I never asked you to carry me. Lu Wen was startled. Cici, weren't you behind me? When did you get in front of me? Then who just tapped me on the back? Don't look back. Lu Wen, whatever you do, don't look back. Zhao Xiaojing at the front cried out in terror. Remember Lu Wen, don't look back no matter what. Let's pick up the pace. Even the usually unflappable Zhao Xiaojing was trembling, his fear contagious among us all. On this vast snowfield sinking into darkness, the slightest mishap could shatter our frayed nerves. Lu Wen's voice was almost a sob as he asked, Zhao Xiaojing, why can't I look back? What do you mean, what's behind me? Zhao Xiaojing didn't answer. Just don't worry about it. The main thing is to walk fast. Remember, don't look back. And try not to hunch over. And definitely don't run. Hearing that, my mind exploded. I knew I had made the right gamble. When I was a kid, I heard some legends that wild bears are very smart and like to imitate human behavior. When it's not bright enough or there's a thick fog, they'll put cow dung on their heads, stand on two legs, and wave at people, pretending to be villagers in felt hats to lure humans closer. Sometimes these bears even mimic humans by knocking on doors or gently tapping someone on the shoulder from behind. If the person whose shoulder was tapped turns around without thinking, the bear will instantly bite their neck. The thought of it sent a shiver down my spine, and I felt a cold sweat break out all over my back. Zhao Xiaojing was first, I was second, followed by Cici and Lu Wen. If Lu Wen gets eaten by the bear, then Cici is next, followed by Lin Lin and me. This was my true intention in carrying Lin Lin on my back. In my previous life, Lu Wen and the others were all in the cabin, completely unaware they had brushed shoulders with death. I had just frozen to death, and as my soul hovered near my body, I saw a bear sniffing me from head to toe, but I couldn't move, and I wasn't particularly appealing to the bear, so it didn't devour me right away. Instead, it just used its thick paws to bury me a bit deeper in the snow. I figured it must have had more desirable prey in mind, treating me more like a backup, a sort of emergency ration. So it covered me with snow to keep other wild animals from finding me. At that moment, Lin Lin was on my back. If a bear or some other wild animal attacks, Lin Lin, who can't run far and isn't quite dead, would be a more appealing target than me. I could use her as a distraction to buy myself a chance to escape. The four of us quickened our pace, and if you listened closely, you could hear footsteps that were more erratic and heavier than human ones. This further confirmed my suspicions, and I couldn't help but swallow nervously. What do we do, Xiaojing? I feel like it's still following me. Before Zhao Xiaojing could answer, Lu Wen shrieked, Ah, it's pawing at me, save me. I don't want to die, wait for me, Song ran, don't walk so fast, wait for me, Lu Wen kept muttering behind us, but we all tacitly ignored him and walked even faster. It was clear he was trying to drag someone down with him. Song ran, wait for me, or at least put Lin Lin down. Yes, you can't walk fast carrying Lin Lin, put her on the ground, I'll take her. Hearing this, Lin Lin's voice immediately turned into a whimper as she pleaded softly in my ear, Ran, no, don't leave me, please, I don't want to die. I scoffed inwardly. I thought Lu Wen and Lin Lin had such a strong bond, but it turns out they're just fair-weather friends. Abandoning each other when disaster strikes. Seeing my inaction, Lu Wen upped the ante. You're not willing to abandon Lin Lin. Are you still under the impression she's your best friend? You have no idea what she's been doing behind your back, do you, Lu Wen? Lin Lin's voice erupted in anger. Scared now, are we? You were quite bold when you were seducing me. Lu Wen's voice was a little distorted. Song ran, don't listen to him. Lu Wen's lost his mind. He's just trying to drag someone down with him, that's why he's lying to you. There's nothing between him and me. Liar, me, Song ran, I can give you my phone, it has my chat history with Lin Lin. Before we could respond, Lu Wen started exclaiming again, ouch, it's biting me. At this rate, will it eat me alive? I think it's a bear. This is all your fault, Lin Lin, if you hadn't insisted on traveling abroad, and if I couldn't shake off Song ran. None of us would be on this trip, so that's how it is. Lu Wen originally said he wanted to travel abroad with me, but was worried about safety overseas, that's why he invited a few friends along. Turns out it was all for Lin Lin. Hey, wait up, all of you, Song ran, don't walk so fast, I'm your boyfriend, singled out. I quietly picked up my pace, please, as if I'd wait for him. Lu Wen's voice grew ragged, as if he were running. From ahead, Zhao Xiaojing's terrified voice rang out, don't run. Lu Wen, whatever you do, don't run. But it was already too late. Overwhelmed by fear, Lu Wen thought about jogging a few steps to catch up with Hu Sisi, but his sudden sprint completely triggered the beast's hunting instinct. The bear, which had been trailing Lu Wen without making a move, finally couldn't resist and pounced, beginning to tear at him. From behind, Lu Wen's screams echoed continuously, help me, it's eating my leg. We had no choice but to keep moving quickly, and as we did, I secretly glanced back. It was too dark to see clearly, but I could make out faint splashes of red liquid on the snow. Lu Wen initially pleaded, but when we didn't react, he started cursing. Song ran, Zhao Xiaojing, do you really think you can escape just by leaving me behind? Ha 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 ha, how could you possibly outrun a bear? Almost simultaneously, Zhao Xiaojing, who was leading the way, suddenly paused. Look, what's that? In the darkness. It was hard to make out clearly with just the flashlight beam, but based on my past life's experience, I knew we had arrived at the cabin from my previous life. It looks like a house, Hu Sisi exclaimed, surprised and delighted. The danger of the bear still loomed behind us, so we couldn't help but quicken our pace. 6. The moment the wooden door swung shut, Lu Wen's screams were cut off from us. But we dared not relax for a single moment. The footprints in the snow were glaringly obvious. The human scent overwhelming, and bears being such cunning creatures, not to mention the barren snowfield offered little food. Once that bear finishes Lu Wen, it'll track us down in no time. I looked up at this cabin, pure wood construction, might keep out an honest man, but certainly no match for thieves, let alone a bear. Foreigners' construction methods are downright unreliable. Nothing beats concrete and steel for real security. Realizing this, we decided we couldn't just sit back and wait. We had to take the initiative. Bears are afraid of fire, loud noises, the unknown, or anything larger than themselves. We searched the cabin thoroughly but only found a shovel and a mop, which were barely adequate for self-defense. However, these items seemed rather laughable when facing an adult bear. Hu Sisi continued rummaging through the house when she suddenly spotted a switch. Out of curiosity, she pressed it. In an instant, the snow-covered ground in front of the house was completely illuminated. Coupled with the snow's reflection of the light, it created the illusion that day had suddenly broken. This sudden turn of events startled the bear, which had been happily feasting. The plump, black-furred figure bolted, not looking back. After confirming the bear wasn't coming back, the three of us finally mustered the courage to go out and check on Lu Wen. This bear, it turns out, was truly vicious. Other wild animals usually bite their prey's throat, killing it instantly before they start to feed, but this bear chose to start eating from the feet, tormenting its prey with fear and pain until it broke down, eventually dying from excessive blood loss. Just like Lu Wen now, his legs had been gnawed by a bear up to his knees. His knees were a bloody mess, the glaring red appearing even more gruesome under the lights and against the snow. The scent of blood in the wild easily attracts beasts. So leaving Lu Wen at the entrance certainly wasn't a good idea. Therefore, when Zhao Xiaojing carried Lu Wen towards the cabin, I didn't object, but deep down, a subtle unease gnawed at him. Will that bear come back? 7. No wonder they never wanted to leave the cabin in their past life. It was genuinely warm inside. Zhao Xiaojing got the fireplace going, while Hu Sisi was bandaging Lu Wen and Lin Lin's wounds. I cooked up a hot meal in the kitchen using the food from my backpack. And within 5 minutes, everyone had cleaned their plates. After dinner, I suggested we reinforce the cabin as much as possible. Bears are pretty vengeful animals. After all, we scared it off with lights and interrupted its meal, so there's no telling if it'll come back. Everyone agreed it was a good idea. We searched the cabin thoroughly, but only found 2 solid wood wardrobes that could serve our purpose. The wooden cabin had 1 door and 2 windows, one at the front and one at the back. We used the 2 wardrobes to block the door and the front window respectively. The back window, however, could only be partially covered by propping up a sofa. Both wardrobes were filled with clothes and various items, and being made of solid wood, it took all 3 of us a great deal of effort to get them into position. After finishing all this, I finally felt somewhat at ease. When the room had warmed sufficiently, we put out the fireplace. Zhao Xiaojing grabbed some large glow sticks we'd found inside and climbed up the chimney to secure them on the roof. This way, even in poor nighttime visibility, search and rescue planes could spot that people were here. Lin Lin had a silver tongue and knew how to play cute, always popular wherever she went, the center of attention like stars circling the moon. The 3 of us were bustling about, yet she showed no remorse for not helping. Instead, she felt neglected. Brrr, it's freezing. Song ran, it got really cold after you guys went up and turned off the fireplace. Hurry up and light a fire. Sure enough, once safely inside, Lin Lin felt she no longer needed anything from me, and her attitude did a complete 180, shedding all traces of her previous cautiousness. And Lu Wen, after whatever conversation he had with Lin Lin, seemed to have completely forgotten that they had just been trying to kill each other. Lu Wen chimed in, yeah, Lin Lin's still injured. She can't stand the cold. Song ran, hurry up and get that fireplace going. There should be eggs and milk in this house. Right, tomorrow morning, make Lin Lin some steamed egg custard and warm up some milk. She needs the protein to recover faster. Their bossy attitude actually made me laugh. Song ran, what are you just standing there for? Lin Lin complained, seeing that I hadn't moved. By the way, next time you need to get on the roof, just use a ladder outside the cabin instead of going through the chimney. When the fireplace was just turned off, the room got freezing. You guys don't feel it with all your activity, but both Lu Wen and I are injured. Lin Lin still thought she was as popular as before, making all sorts of demands in a coquettish tone. Zhao Xiaojing sneered when called out. You feel cold just sitting indoors, but you think I won't freeze climbing a ladder outside. Who do you think you are, some pampered princess? Keep this up and I'll throw you to the wolves. Seeing her former admirer suddenly threatening her so viciously, Lin Lin immediately welled up with tears. Lu Wen weakly pulled Lin Lin into a half-hearted embrace while scolding Zhao Xiaojing. Zhao Xiaojing, what kind of man yells at a woman? It's just climbing a ladder and catching a chill, not life or death. Don't make your buddies lose respect for you. I sneered, if you're such a man, why don't you climb it yourself? Or does being a real man mean flirting with other girls right in front of your girlfriend? My words left Lu Wen speechless, flushing with embarrassment. He released Lin Lin. Song ran, since you already know, there are some things I won't hide from you anymore. Lin Lin and I truly have feelings for each other. And I hope you can let go and let us be together, but I also hope you won't make things difficult for Lin Lin because of this. After all, she's injured right now, and she's been your good friend for so many years. Lu Wen's words made it sound like I was so desperate to hold on to him, like I'd cling to him and never let go. I rolled my eyes so hard internally, my life was on the line, and I still had time to think about all this nonsense. You want this? You want that? Why don't you go to a temple and make a wish? And when Lin Lin was seducing my boyfriend, she didn't remember we'd been friends for so many years, but now she does. Let me tell you, whether you 2 adulterers stay together or go ruin other people's lives, I don't care, but don't drag me into your mess. I don't have time for it. As I expected, it wasn't Lu Wen who retorted first, but Lin Lin. Lu Wen, what are you talking about? I've always seen you as a brother. How could you possibly think of our relationship that way? Lu Wen's face was a mask of surprise at her words. He had severely overestimated his own charm and Lin Lin's character. I kindly reminded him, Lu Wen, you've lost everything below your knees. Your looks and income will take a massive hit. Do you still think you're that handsome, promising doctor who could charm my best friend into being your mistress? My harsh words jolted Lu Wen back to reality. He shook Lin Lin's body. Unwilling to accept it. Really, Lin Lin, is that what you truly think? I loved you so much, and you actually despise me. Seeing Lin Lin stammering but not refuting, he grew even angrier. I came here for you. Damn it, if you hadn't been nagging about going abroad, would we have been in a plane crash? If it weren't for you delaying our journey, would my leg be like this? Lin Lin turned deathly pale from the turbulence before finally shoving Lu Wen away in frustration. Enough, Lu Wen. It takes two to tango. Don't pin all the blame on me. Weren't you just chasing thrills when you hooked up with your girlfriend's best friend? Stop playing the innocent victim. The moment I invited you abroad, you immediately booked me a themed love hotel with a waterbed while getting your own girlfriend a standard room. Then you made me pretend it was my booking mistake in front of them. You were also the first to abandon me by the plane. Lu Wen, what kind of man are you? Too cowardly to own up to your actions, yet you dare criticize me. 8. Their fight was so intense, I actually wanted to watch the dog-eat-dog spectacle a bit longer, and even started recording it, but Zhao Xiaojing cut in. Enough already, we're all running on fumes here. This isn't the time to be bickering about romance. If you ask me, we should just get some sleep. No one knows if the bear will come back, so we definitely can't all sleep at once. CC and I will be one group. And the three of you will be another. Each group sleeps for 3 hours, then we switch. What do you think? Zhao Xiaojing made a lot of sense, and none of us argued. It was past 1 in the morning, and the sound of 3 people snoring filled the room. Lin Lin fell asleep in less than half an hour. Now, only Lu Wen and I are still awake. Ran. Lu Wen suddenly called my name with a sickeningly sweet tone I hadn't heard in a long time. Goosebumps instantly erupted all over both my arms. After what happened today, you must be so disappointed in me, right? He wore the same bitter, lovelorn smile as a second male lead in a romance drama. Not really, I didn't have high hopes for you to begin with. Lu Wen's smile froze, but he persisted. Ran, I know I hurt you, and I don't expect your forgiveness, but I hope you can believe that I was just misled by Lin Lin before. I only realize now that you're the one who's always been best to me. I truly regret it. TSK. Lu Wen finally realized he's got no market left. So now he's trying to come back to me, his old sugar daddy. Lu Wen, you don't need to regret anything, because I know everything you've been doing all this time, I said steadily, looking into Lu Wen's hopeful eyes. This is who you truly are. Only a scumbag like you would fall for Lin Lin's seduction. Save your theatrics for someone else. I don't want what others have rejected. Lu Wen's eyes widened in shock, staring at me for a long moment as if he couldn't believe such cruel words came from my mouth. I was speechless. With the howling night wind outside and danger lurking everywhere, I had to stay completely alert for night watch. Yet here Lu Wen was still scheming to find a backup option. Just as I rolled up my sleeve to pinch myself awake again, a dull knocking sound came from the doorway. At first, I prayed I had misheard, but less than 10 seconds later, the thump sound echoed from the door again. I doubt anyone else on the plane was as lucky as us, not only surviving but also stumbling upon this cabin. When I looked at Lu Wen, his eyes were also filled with terror. It must be that bear knocking. Just like in the legends, it's pretending to be human, luring me to open the door. My palms began sweating, and my heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible fist. But after about 2 minutes, the knocking at the front door stopped completely. Just as we started to relax, a dull thud came from the window at the back of the house. Damn it, this bear is cunning. It knows the back is our weakest point. The cabin's sofa leaned towards a modern, light luxury style, relying on cushions and soft pads to make an impression. Its internal structure was supported by only a few logs, completely inadequate to withstand a bear attack. What do we do? It's almost in. Lu Wen's voice trembled. I looked up. There's only one way. After an internal struggle, I still couldn't bring myself to abandon Zhao Xiaojing and Hu Sisi. Even though they played a part in my death in my previous life, they weren't the masterminds. I gently woke up Zhao Xiaojing and Hu Sisi, repeatedly cautioning them not to make any sudden noises that might wake Lin Lin. Otherwise, given Lin Lin's jumpy nature, if she started screaming, the bear outside would surely realize someone was inside and wouldn't hesitate to break down the door. Luckily, she was a deep sleeper and wasn't woken by the knocking. 9. Given how sturdy this cabin is, it definitely won't stop that bear. There's only one place we can hide, the chimney. Zhao Xiaojing's voice was heavy. I've climbed that chimney before. It's only 6 meters high, and it's a 3 by 3 meter square. And the roof won't support anyone. We quickly did the math and understood. In the end, we unanimously decided to give up on Lin Lin. After Zhao Xiaojing doused the fireplace with a pot of water, the 4 of us quickly squeezed inside. Zhao Xiaojing was at the very top, I was second. followed by Hu Cece, and Lu Wen, who couldn't climb, was naturally at the very bottom, because the fire had just been put out. The fireplace was incredibly smoky, especially where Lu Wen was. But he couldn't cough out loud, so he just held his breath until his face turned beet red. It's still relatively safe up there, but the bear could easily reach his spot. No sooner had Lu Wen squeezed into the fireplace than the sounds of splintering wood and a black bear's roar erupted from outside the window. This was immediately followed by Lin Lin's scream. Lin Lin cried out, "What's going on? Everyone's gone. Help me." Lu Wen, Song ran. "Cece, Xiaojiang, where are you? Why didn't you call for me?" "Are you hiding in the closet?" "Yes, definitely in the closet. You don't dare to come out. Go on. There are still people in the closet. Go eat them." A wave of relief washed over me. The chimney was only tall enough for 4 people, and the 3 of us healthy ones would certainly each take up a spot. That left room for only one person between Lu Wen and Lin Lin. I know their true nature all too well. If Lin Lin gets woken up and we have to choose between Lu Wen and her for the chimney, whichever one isn't picked would immediately betray our location. That's why I outright suggested leaving Lin Lin asleep. No one objected. Besides, had she kept watch as promised, she wouldn't have been left behind in the first place. Inside the house, Lin Lin's cries ranged from loud to soft, from terrified to despairing. Lu Wen knew that feeling all too well. Hearing Lin Lin's voice, he was so scared he wet himself. If it were my past self, hearing Lin Lin's pained moans and seeing her pleading eyes, I definitely wouldn't have had the heart to refuse. Zhao Xiaojiang, who was at the very top, couldn't bear the cold any longer and repeatedly demanded to go back inside. Lu Wen at the bottom refused. If the bear was still around, he'd be the first to die. Fortunately, the sound of helicopter blades echoed through the sky. We screamed excitedly, with Zhao Xiaojiang stretching upward and frantically waving his arms until the crew finally spotted us. 10. The rescue team leader, Song Lin, turned out to be the same person who'd overheard Lu Wen and Lin Lin's conversation in their past life. He froze for a long moment when he saw me. His strange reaction gave me a wild hunch. Sure enough, on the night of our engagement a year later, Song Lin confessed he'd also been reborn. In our past life, he died on a rescue mission shortly after my death. It happened when they were rescuing a few hikers who had snuck into the mountains without tickets and gotten trapped. Song Lin, who was leading the way and providing light, was pushed by one of the hikers, who was desperate to get home. Song Lin fell down the mountain, and at just 25 years old, his parents lost their only son. If he could do it again, he would have just left the team, but he was afraid of implicating his teammates. So he personally went through that ordeal before he started pursuing me. 11. After he was rescued, Lu Wen went mad. On top of that, inhaling too many toxic particles from the chimney had made his mind a bit muddled. I heard that while he was in the hospital, he kept muttering, "It's not like this. It shouldn't be like this. My leg will be fine. Lin Lin won't die. Song Ran will die. I'll be famous. Everyone will know I'm the survivor who protected others." How could this happen? How could this happen? I know Lu Wen is back too. Unfortunately, no one was willing to make sense of a madman's words. The few of us who survived each received a total of 10 million in compensation from the airline for our physical and emotional damages. We also made a fortune from all the interviews we gave, and because of that unfortunate experience, my superiors and colleagues at work were worried about my mental well-being, so they gave me a lot of preferential treatment. Much later, I still felt incredibly grateful for the choice I made back then. Story 2. I reincarnated back to my sophomore year, only for my fake nice roommate Yu Shanshan to announce she's pregnant with my boyfriend Zhou Xijin's child. This time, I didn't cry or make a scene, just smiled and wished them well. Trash deserves trash, may they rot together. Meanwhile, I called my father to cut off all financial support for Zhou Xijin. In this life, my Yan family will never raise this ungrateful wretch. 1. In my past life, I was tortured to death by Zhou Xijin. Despite my congenital heart condition, he deliberately got me pregnant twice. The first time, when I was 3 months pregnant, he slipped abortifacients into my food and caused me to miscarry. My parents died in a car accident while rushing to the hospital. As their son-in-law, Zhou Xijin naturally took over all our family businesses. In public, he wore mourning clothes and wailed like a devoted son, putting on an act of filial piety. After my parents' death, he locked me at home and began beating and tormenting me. He shoved my head into the toilet and whipped me with a belt. With a twisted expression, he snarled at me, "Yushi, that bastard is finally dead. Tell me, how should I make you die?" I managed to escape and call the police twice, but he produced a forged psychiatric evaluation, convincing the officers I had severe mental illness. At the police station, he held me in his arms. weeping uncontrollably as he performed his grand display of affection. Yet the moment we got home, he yanked my hair and rained blows upon me. My second pregnancy was also his cruel doing. When I was 5 months along, he forced scalding water and abortion pills down my throat. The burns left me voiceless forever. While blood poured from between my legs, I lay prostrate on the ground, desperately trying to call for help. Yet he yanked my hair, forcing me to lift my head. Yan Yushi. If it weren't for you, Shanshan wouldn't have died. If not for you, would I have become the Yan family's live-in son-in-law, mocked and despised by all? How could someone like you be worthy of bearing a child of the Zhou family? Yan Yushi, you're utterly beneath me. Every ounce of suffering you endure now is just atonement for the sins of your Yan family. Tears mingled with blood trailed slowly down my face. The Yan family's crime. Is the Yan family's crime simply helping Zhou Sijin after his father went bankrupt from that pig butchering scam? My stomach. It hurts so bad. My heart's beating all wrong. Each thump feels like it's draining the last of my strength. My mouth gaped open as I struggled to breathe. But that final gasp of air never came. Consciousness faded, leaving only Zhou Sijin's terrifying, twisted visage burned into my mind. If there's a next life, too, Yan Yushi, I'm pregnant. A voice whispered in my ear, brimming with smugness and ostentation, laced with a touch of bravado. That's your boyfriend Zhou Sijin's child, whispered my roommate Yu Shanshan into my ear. The scene felt vaguely familiar. The slightly cramped dorm room permeated with mingling scents of perfume, soap, face powder, and the musty odor of mildew. Stop playing the innocent little flower. If you're sick, you shouldn't even be here studying. Yu Shanshan's voice hissed in my ear again. I pinched my thigh hard, double-checking. Had I really traveled back in time, reborn as a college sophomore? Yu Shanshan strutted over like a victorious rooster, smugly announcing she was pregnant with my boyfriend Zhou Sijin's child. In my past life, Zhou Sijin was my entire world at that moment. Blinded by rage, I slapped her across the face. I stormed over to confront Zhou Sijin in a rage, and the emotional outburst left me with heart palpitations that sent me to the hospital. My mom rushed to the hospital overnight and gave Zhou Sijin a piece of her mind. Zhou Sijin became all meek and submissive in front of my mother. Later, Mom comforted me, saying, young couples always have their spats. It's nothing to worry about. Later, Yu Shanshan hemorrhaged during an abortion at an unlicensed clinic, resulting in 2 lives lost. Normally, Zhou Sijin would have faced school disciplinary action for such a scandal. But my mother paid for PR damage control and gave Yu's family hefty compensation. The whole incident was forcibly swept under the rug. Steadying myself, I smiled faintly at Yu Shanshan and said, congratulations. Are you planning to keep this child? Naturally, Yu Shanshan arched her brows, her smugness written all over her face. Yan Yushi, you won't blame me, will you? Yu Shanshan leaned in, speaking with saccharine sweetness. For stealing your wealthy boyfriend, sigh. It's not like I had a choice. Sijin said you're rigid and boring. Heh, you'd better focus on your studies. Sijin mentioned you're preparing for grad school. Starting early never hurts. I'm going on a date today. Sijin's taking me to a Michelin-starred restaurant. I nodded with a carefree smile and said, you'd better hurry then. See you. The moment Yu Shanshan left the dorm, leaving me alone, I immediately called my mom, hearing my mother's voice again after 2 lifetimes. I suddenly felt tears welling up. What's wrong, Yushi? Mom asked anxiously, noticing the strain in my voice. She added that while studying hard at school is important, I should also remember to rest. Don't worry, Mom, I said with a smile. I just wanted to say we can stop supporting Zhou Sijin now that he's in college. Back when Zhou Sijin started university, Mom had mentioned that since we weren't related, funding him through college was already more than enough. In my past life, I was blind to fall head over heels for Zhou Sijin at first sight. I threw tantrums repeatedly, demanding my mother provide him the same privileges as my living standards. I even claimed Zhou Sijin's academic excellence would qualify him for postgraduate studies. After graduation, he could assist my father in managing the family business. Indeed, everything in that previous life unfolded exactly according to my life blueprint. Zhou Sijin studied hard, took the postgraduate entrance exam, and joined our family company. Everyone knew he was the Yan's chosen son-in-law, and my parents had only me, their sole daughter. Everything fell perfectly into place. Little did I know, my wholehearted devotion would open the door to a wolf in sheep's clothing. Mom didn't ask if I'd quarreled with Zhou Sijin. 3. Instead, she told me Zhou didn't seem like a good match, and she'd already had our birth charts analyzed. We're fundamentally incompatible. I know, Mom, let's freeze his credit cards today, I said obediently, hanging up. I wondered if Mom would act fast enough to leave Zhou stranded with his Michelin-starred dinner bill tonight. Little did I know at the time that Zhou Sijin, trying to impress Yu Shanshan with his wealthy playboy persona, had taken her to a Michelin 3-star restaurant and reserved an outrageously expensive private dining room. When the bill came, he discovered his credit card had been frozen. In a panic, he immediately called my mother, Jin. I texted you this afternoon, you're already a junior about to graduate, the Yen family won't be supporting you anymore, my mother said before abruptly hanging up. But Jin completely ignored the message from my mom, or perhaps subconsciously blocked it out. Left with no choice, he called me instead. The moment I answered, Jin launched into accusations before I could even speak. Yen Yushi, is this some kind of joke your family's playing? So your mom can just freeze my card whenever she feels like it? You think I'm some naive kid you can push around? Just because you've got some dirty money, you think you can do whatever you want and humiliate me? Humiliate me? I sneered inwardly. In that past life, every moment with Jin was spent catering to his ridiculously fragile ego. He constantly gaslit me, calling me a spoiled princess too privileged to understand real hardship. I lowered myself, tiptoeing around his moods, feeding his manipulation until his psychological abuse twisted me into a mental wreck, and everyone bought his narrative. In this life, I'll just keep smiling like this. Jin, my family planned to cut off your financial support when you entered college. After all, we're not a charity organization, but out of respect for my father's wartime camaraderie with yours, we decided to fund you for 2 more years. Now you're a junior, 1 more year till graduation. Surely you can manage part-time work by then. Relying on relatives and friends isn't a long-term solution, I said with a laugh. We won't insult your dignity with handouts. The dorm's about to turn off lights, goodbye. With that, I hung up the phone without hesitation, but soon enough, Jin called back, fuming with rage. Yen Yushi, you're doing this on purpose. Can't stand to see me doing well, can you? It's just a few bucks from your family, must you hold it over my head like this? What's the big idea? Just because I used your family's money, I have to become your live-in son-in-law, or what? Your family will freeze my cards. Yen Yushi, who exactly am I disgusting here? Unfazed, I chuckled softly. Jin, you're really overestimating yourself. Those intimate words we exchanged under the same roof were just youthful recklessness. Did you actually take them seriously? Who'd even bother manipulating trash like you? Oh right, your dad was lovesick and got slaughtered like a pig. What's wrong? Caught the lovesickness bug too. Don't bother me unless it's important. With that, I hung up and blocked the number. How he settled the restaurant bill was his own problem. It being the weekend, Yu Shanshan didn't return until Sunday evening. She even brought gifts for our other 2 roommates, eagerly bragging about how wealthy her boyfriend was. He owns a small duplex apartment near campus. Listen up, you lucky ducks, I'm moving out of the dorms. Yu Shanshan twirled around the room with a smug grin. This dorm is way too cramped for 4 people. I'll move out so you'll have more space. Humph. Jin had always maintained his rich playboy persona in front of Yu Shanshan, with his tall, elegant frame and refined features. He turned heads among female students whenever he drove my Porsche around campus. I never called him out on it. In fact, I even went out of my way to cover for him. As for now, there's no way I'd let Yu Shanshan move into my place. The car, I already made 2 calls yesterday demanding Jin return it. He picked up the first call. When I called again, he blocked my number. No worries, I'll report this to the police. With a luxury car involved, the police take it seriously. I should get their response by tomorrow. The police were far more efficient than I'd anticipated. Around 7 p.m. The police called saying they'd found my car, but it had been impounded at a Michelin-starred restaurant, and I needed to go sort it out. Without hesitation, I changed clothes and headed out. Yushi, going out at this hour, got a hot date? Yu Shanshan teased deliberately. Yeah, I said cheerfully. I'll bring you guys some bubble tea when I get back. I took a taxi to the restaurant, and the police had already arrived. I handed the police the documents I'd prepared the day before, the car purchase invoice, contract, vehicle registration, etc. The officer asked me, "Did you lend your car to a young man named Jin?" I nodded obediently and explained to the officers that Jin's father and mine were former comrades in arms. He came to borrow my car recently, and I agreed, but he never returned it, and just a few days ago, he blocked all contact with me, left with no choice. I had to report this to the police. I'd already explained all this when filing the report and provided Jin's contact details among other information. Since Jin hadn't paid the restaurant bill, they naturally wouldn't let me drive the car away, so the police contacted Jin and asked him to come over. At first he refused, but changed his mind when the police threatened to charge him with auto theft if he didn't show up. It wasn't until after 9 p.m., after repeated police That Zhou Sijing finally showed up. The moment he saw me, he snapped, "Yan Yushi, what the hell do you want? So what if I borrowed your car for a bit?" Even the cops couldn't tolerate his attitude and gave him a proper dressing down. Mediation. Zhou Sijing's defense was simple. He's a broke student with frozen credit cards, promising to pay the restaurant next month when his allowance comes through. I'm taking my car back right now. Unbelievably. He suggested I should pay the restaurant bill in exchange for getting my car back. Of course I refused. I told him his actions were illegal. Borrowing my car without returning it and secretly using it as collateral constitutes unlawful possession of property. Now he either returns my car immediately, or I'll have my lawyer begin legal proceedings. The officers also urged him to settle the restaurant bill first and return my car, since it's already escalated to police involvement. Informing your parents really isn't that big of a deal. Zhou Sijing started making calls to both my parents. My mom didn't answer, and though my dad picked up, he immediately hung up upon hearing the request for money, right in front of me. He cursed angrily under his breath. "So what if you're rich? No son means your bloodline ends with you. How vile." Then, he started borrowing money from his classmates. After managing to borrow some but still coming up short, he wrote an IOU to the restaurant, promising to pay in a few days. With police mediation, the restaurant agreed. I drove to the coveted duplex at Haitang Huafu that Yu Shanshan had been eyeing, changed the access code, and notified the property security that Zhou Sijing wasn't the owner, warning them not to let him in. Naturally, I wouldn't allow anyone else to live in my home. By the time I finished handling all the errands and got back to the dorm, it was almost 10 p.m. I even brought milk tea for our other two roommates. Yu Shanshan, her eyes red, blocked my path. "Yan Yushi, what's your problem? Chasing after someone else's boyfriend knowingly? Have you no shame?" I burst out laughing and said, "Yu Shanshan, even by the order of first come first served, you'd still be the other woman." 5. Also, you seem to have misunderstood something. With an amused smile, I continued, "That Zhou Sijing you treasure so much, he's just the son of my father's comrade in arms. We happened to know each other when he stayed at our place during high school for a while, nothing more than that. Rest assured, there's nothing between us. I won't stand in the way of your gold-digging ambitions." I said it loud and clear, with conviction that couldn't be ignored. Yu Shanshan seemed convinced and asked, "Really?" "Absolutely," I replied. "If you don't believe me, I can post an official statement on the school bulletin board. Honestly, it's you I'm worried about." I shrugged. "Now that you're pregnant, this tiny dorm isn't ideal. With all our roughhousing, one accidental bump could be serious. You should move out sooner rather than later. See, since learning about your pregnancy, I've stopped bringing you boba tea. If anything happened from it, I couldn't live with myself." When my other two roommates heard Yu Shanshan was pregnant, their faces froze in complete shock. Universities don't actually prohibit relationships or marriage. But we're only sophomores, still financially dependent on our parents and focused on our studies. Nobody would be reckless enough to risk an unplanned pregnancy. Only someone as clueless as Yu Shanshan would try trapping a man with a baby. She's also blind, mistaking a deadbeat loser for some wealthy Prince Charming. This life, I'll let them have their way. Let's see how far their love can go, whether it'll truly last forever. Yu Shanshan stared at the bag in my hand, a limited edition Hermes that my aunt gave me for my 18th birthday. She'd been to my duplex apartment before and recognized it, so she grabbed me again, this time with such force that my arm actually ached. "Yan Yushi, you almost had me fooled. Stop playing innocent. You're clearly taking advantage while pretending otherwise. You've never even met Zhou Sijing. So how did his bag end up with you?" She pointed at the bag in my hand. "You just can't stand to see me happy," and deliberately latched onto him. "He told me you've been clinging to him all this time, just because your fathers were comrades in arms." Laughing off her accusation, I said, "You doubt everything I say. Why don't you call Zhou Sijing yourself and ask him? Put it on speaker. Better yet, video call. Let's settle this properly so you won't keep suspecting me of being a homewrecker." "That's not a label I can afford to wear," I chuckled. My other two roommates kept nodding while sipping their bubble tea, being nothing but spectators enjoying the drama. Yu Shanshan froze for a moment. I knew she'd been worried sick when I stepped out earlier. She'd even called Zhou Sijing. God knows what was going through Zhou Sijing's mind when he told her I was desperately clinging to him, and that he was just humoring me out of respect for our parents' friendship. "He's probably just showing off out of vanity," my two roommates chimed in, urging Yu Shanshan to quickly make a video call to Zhou Sijing for clarification. Pressured by us, Yu Shanshan finally made the video call to Zhou Sijing. 6. "Shanshan, it's so late. Why aren't you asleep? What's all this about?" Zhou Xijin's voice clearly carried impatience over the call. Honestly, I'd be pissed too, scraping together every penny, borrowing left and right. Yet still coming up short for a single Michelin-starred meal. His carefully crafted Playboy air persona crumbled instantly. How could he not be furious? Unfortunately, Yu Shanshan remained completely oblivious. Her voice turned sugary sweet, laced with a hint of a whimper. Xijin, I saw Yan Yuxi carrying that bag, the limited edition Hermes you mentioned, the one displayed in your window. You promised it to me. Oh, that pitiful little tone of hers. On the phone, Zhou Xijin replied irritably. Shanshan, it's just a bag. She kept pestering me. And out of respect for our family's friendship, I casually gave it to her. I cut him off mid-sentence and raised my voice. Zhou Xijin, let's get this straight. When exactly did you ever give me a limited edition Hermes bag? Zhou Xijin clearly hadn't expected Yu Shanshan to put the video call on speaker. He froze instantly. I pressed on. Zhou Xijin, explain this properly to your girlfriend right now. Stop dragging me into your mess. Or I'll sue you both for defamation. My outburst seemed to trigger Zhou Xijin's temper. He snapped. What's your problem, Shanshan? It's just some stupid bag. I'll buy you one tomorrow. With that, the call abruptly ended, yet the explanation remained vague, leaving Yu Shanshan pale with fury. As if nursing deep grievances, she climbed into bed and sobbed quietly through most of the night. The next afternoon, Zhou Xijin dragged me behind the school grove and demanded coldly, Yan Yushi, what exactly are you trying to pull? He had one hand planted on the tree behind me in that cliché cabotin pose. Probably thought he looked super cool. I stepped around the tree to put distance between us, just watching him silently. Yushi, I'll chalk up yesterday's incident to you acting childish and forgive you. Transfer 50 grand to me, and you'd better explain to your parents exactly what you told them yourself. If I don't see the money next month, we're through. Got it? As he spoke, he actually reached out and grabbed my chin. I smacked his hand away hard, real hard, staring at the payment QR code on his phone. I sneered, what are you, a beggar? Shamelessly holding out your hand for money. Have you no self-respect? Zhou Xijin's face flushed crimson with rage and humiliation, his features contorting into something almost monstrous. How dare you humiliate me? You served yourself up for humiliation, I shouted back. The school grove was barely private, just a few trees by the roadside where students constantly passed by. Zhou Xijin's face instantly fell. The guy was cripplingly insecure with a fragile ego, and nothing stung him more than being called poor. He shoved me hard, making me stagger backward, then hissed through clenched teeth, keep your voice down. What's all this fuss about? If you're scared I'll make a scene. Why'd you come looking for me? I said pointedly. You want to buy your girlfriend a bag, and you come asking me for money. Am I your dad or your mom? No money, no skills. What kind of big spender act are you pulling? Just get a tote bag, I said loudly. A crowd of onlookers had gathered by the roadside, watching the scene unfold. Yan Yushi, what the hell are you trying to pull? Aren't you ashamed? Zhou Xijin yelled at me. I've got nothing to be ashamed of, I shot back. The real embarrassment is someone pretending to be big shot when they're broke. With that, I turned on my heel and walked away. Zhou Xijin's voice came from behind, seething with rage. Yan Yushi, you'll regret this. Of course I wouldn't regret it. I deliberately drove that Porsche to campus, making a grand entrance all the way to the small parking lot near the dorms. Predictably, Yu Shanshan couldn't take it anymore and came at me with a tear-streaked face, ready for a showdown. 7. Yan Yushi. You're going back on your word. What's the point of clinging to brother Xijin like this? She then shouted loudly, classmates, be the judge of this. Zhou Xijin and I are dating, yet Yan Yushi keeps making scenes and harassing him knowingly. She's fully aware she's the other woman. With the dorm door open, neighbors couldn't resist poking their heads out, eager for the juiciest gossip. Seeing enough spectators had gathered, I finally laughed. Yu Shanshan, what's your game here? When did you ever see me chasing Zhou Xijin? I've been avoiding him like the plague. You're driving his car and still have the nerve to say that. Yu Shanshan jabbed her finger inches from my face, her tone dripping with accusation. With a cold laugh, I swatted her hand away and pulled the vehicle registration from my bag. Take a good look yourself. Whose name's on this? I flung the document at her. Any halfway sensible person knows the registration must bear the owner's name. Bullshit. This is Xijin's car. Yu Shanshan spat venomously. Yan Yushi, you forged this. Amused by her antics, I said, Yu Shanshan, have you been watching too many dramas? Must you invent imaginary rivals? Why don't you call Zhou Xijin and ask who actually owns this car? Stop spouting nonsense about this three-nose business. Not everyone is like you, obsessing over romance. 247. Raising my voice, I added, let all classmates bear witness. While I know Zhou Xijin There's absolutely nothing between us. Learning from last time, Yu Shanshan stepped outside to make the call. I came back sobbing uncontrollably for a long time. I used to keep a low profile and never cared much about bags, clothes, or jewelry. Now I'm deliberately going wild online, browsing this and that, even consulting my 2 roommates about which bag I should buy, Chanel or LV. Yu Shanshan was visibly restless. Clearly annoyed by our noise. Hey Shanshan, didn't your boyfriend mention that duplex apartment near campus? Weren't you planning to move out? Maybe you should move out sooner rather than later. With 4 people sharing one dorm room, how can anyone expect complete quiet? My 2 roommates were playing good cop bad cop. At our words, Yu Shanshan sat aside silently weeping, claiming we'd bullied her. 2 days later, the Chanel bag I'd ordered through a shopping agent arrived. Yu Shanshan came over, dug her ridiculously long nails into my bag, and sneered, "Knockoff, isn't it?" I shoved the receipt right in her face without hesitation. "Even if it's a knockoff, I paid good money for it. Damage it, and I'll make you pay." "Yan Yushi, where'd you get the money for that bag?" Yu Shanshan asked me. "My boyfriend's loaded," I said with a smirk. "Unlike yours, you're pregnant yet still crammed in this tiny dorm with us. Can't even get you a decent bag, let alone proper meals." "Yu Shanshan, is your boyfriend even reliable?" Nothing hurts like comparison. Yu Shanshan had pinned all her hopes on seducing Zhou Xijin to marry into wealth overnight and flaunt her social climbing, a brutal slap in the face to everyone. Now that I'd humiliated her so publicly, she took out her frustration by making a scene with Zhou Xijin. Lately, I'd bought 3 bags, 2 Chanel's and 1 Louis Vuitton. I also got 2 gold bracelets, a pair of jade earrings, and a Rolex watch. Yu Shanshan was seething with jealousy, crying to Zhou Xijin every single day. What could Zhou Xijin possibly do? Come on. In his heart, Yu Shanshan was his one true love. Strapped for cash, he began scrambling for money, applying for credit cards, online loans, and the like. He showered Yu Shanshan with lavish outings, meticulously crafting his image as a wealthy charmer. He'd been pawning off the luxury items he bought with my family's money, and finally scraped together enough to get Yu Shanshan a handbag. That bag became Yu Shanshan's dormitory bragging rights for days. I deliberately remarked to her, "Shanshan, luxury items only look good as full sets. That basic LV bag of yours, a bit tacky for a standalone piece. Your boyfriend's the heir to Zhuoxin Group. Surely he isn't stingy enough to skip buying you clothes." Yu Shanshan's expression darkened. 8. Zhuoxin Group is my family's company. When I first heard from Yu Shanshan that Zhou Xijin was the young master of Zhuoxin Group, I was utterly stunned. So I started helping him refine his persona. As the heir of the Zhuoxin conglomerate, pocket change like this should be nothing to you. So I kept egging Yu Shanshan on. Soon enough, Yu Shanshan started pestering Zhou Xijin nonstop for this and that, making a huge scene. On top of that, her morning sickness was brutal. She'd vomit everything she ate and hog the bathroom retching constantly. The fact that she never cleaned up after herself naturally pissed everyone off, so we unanimously demanded that she move out. We also reported this to the dorm supervisor. Upon learning about her pregnancy, the dorm supervisor feared any incidents might cost her the job. Furious, she gave the girl 3 days to vacate, threatening to escalate the matter to school administrators otherwise. Yu Shanshan obviously had no intention of squeezing into the dorm with us. She'd been eyeing my duplex apartment for ages, so she went crying to Zhou Xijin again. Zhou Xijin approached me about borrowing my duplex for a while. I turned him down flat, left with no choice. He ended up renting a place in Haitang Huafu instead. The rent is ridiculously high. In just 3 months, credit card and online loan payments became overdue, with both banks and lenders demanding repayment. Even the money he borrowed from his shady friends, they're now hounding him for repayment too. When the lease expired, the landlord came demanding renewal fees, leading to a heated argument with Yu Shanshan. Yu Shanshan flew into a rage, yelling at the landlord, "My husband is the young master of the Zhuoxin conglomerate. Do you really think we'd stiff you on rent?" Ironically, the landlord happened to know me personally and burst out laughing in exasperation. She told Yu Shanshan point blank, "The Zhuoxin Group's chairman only has one precious daughter. Where exactly did this young master come from?" Yu Shanshan's facade instantly crumbled. Despite her heavily pregnant state, she barged into the school and stormed into Zhou Xijin's classroom mid-lecture, causing a huge scene. Zhou Xijin's face was scratched, and textbooks were thrown everywhere across the desk. Of course, Yu Shanshan didn't get off lightly either. He grabbed her by the hair and slapped her multiple times. The elderly professor couldn't stand it any longer and ordered them to be pulled apart, then arranged for Yu Shanshan to be taken to the hospital. I didn't hear about this until the afternoon. then spend hours gossiping with my 2 roommates trying to piece together the whole drama. My roommate even asked me, since your dad and Zhou Xijin's father served together, is he really the heir to the Zhuoxin Group fortune? Not a chance, I said with a chuckle, biting my straw. He's got absolutely zero connection to Zhuoxin Group. At dusk, after dinner at the campus cafeteria, I walked back to the dorm scrolling through my phone. A man suddenly emerged from the shadows, grabbed me in a tight embrace and tried to kiss me. I screamed in terror and smashed my phone against his head with all my might. Yushi, it's me, stop fussing, Zhou Xijin murmured under the dim streetlight, gazing at me with affection. Yushi, I've missed you so damn much, I burst out laughing. Zhou Xijin, your girlfriend's heavily pregnant, and you're telling me you miss me? Spare me the act, you don't deserve to miss me. With that, I turned to leave. Zhou Xijin grew frantic, blocking my path as he cried out, Yushi, please listen. I was momentarily bewitched by her, but now I see clearly, you're the one I truly love. Just give me some money, and I'll take her to get an abortion, then I'll break up with her, and we can live happily together. Yushi, I promise I'll love you properly. He'd said something similar in his past life, right after Yu Shanshan's miscarriage. In my past life, I don't know what came over me. I clearly knew he bore undeniable responsibility for Yu Shanshan's death. Even my mother warned me, a man who cheats while in a relationship is no good match. Yet I stubbornly refused to listen or believe, lost in my own romantic delusions. I met a tragic end, in this lifetime. I've just heard the most ridiculous joke. Zhou Xijin, how dare you speak of love? A flicker of embarrassment crossed Zhou Xijin's face, but he forced an apologetic smile. Yushi, I was wrong, he said. Go ahead, hit me if you must. 9. With that, he actually grabbed my hand and pressed it against his cheek. I frantically shook off his hand, then vigorously wiped mine with a look of utter disgust. Zhou Xijin, are you blind to your own filth? Keep your hands to yourself, you make me sick. With that, I turned toward the dormitory. He blocked my path again, his face darkening as he growled, Yan Yushi, stop making a scene. So what if I slept with another woman? How long are you going to keep this up? I've already swallowed my pride to apologize. What more do you want from me? You want me to get down on my knees and beg? If you weren't playing the pure maiden and refusing to let me touch you, would I have needed to find someone else? His words sent my blood boiling, and I snapped, Zhou Xijin, have you even looked at yourself in the mirror? You're nothing but a stray dog. My family only took you in out of pity. You, dreaming of me, in your wildest dreams, no mirror at home. Piss in a puddle and take a good look at yourself. After the verbal lashing, I headed straight for the girls' dormitory. That evening, Yu Shanshan gave me a call. Yan Yushi, so you're actually the little princess of Zhuoxin Group? She asked me. My father is the founder and chairman of Zhuoxin Group. I'm his daughter, not some princess. I replied flatly. Why didn't you tell me? He's nothing. His family has no money, only debts. Asterisk sobs asterisk what am I going to do? Yu Shanshan was crying, sobbing uncontrollably right there on the phone. Get an abortion, come back to study properly. I said, graduate, land a decent job, then live your life right, for her. This was the wisest course of action. Our university is a top-tier institution. The degree carries real weight and gives graduates a competitive edge. I reminded her over the phone to make sure she went to a proper hospital for the abortion. After all, she died from a botched abortion in her previous life. Worried, I called our family driver Uncle Wang and asked him to get some people to keep an eye on Yu Shanshan. Over a week later during class, Uncle Wang called, Miss, it's bad, that woman hemorrhaged during the abortion. I had Xiao Wu and the others rush her to a major hospital. I was busy wiring some money to Uncle Wang, insisting he must keep Yu Shanshan alive at all costs. If she dies, wouldn't that be letting that scumbag Zhou Xijin off too easily? Yu Shanshan's life was saved, but the doctor said her miscarriage occurred when the baby was already over 5 months along, nearly 6. That back alley clinic botched the procedure, massive bleeding, infection. The works. Even if I recover, I'll never be able to have children again. 10. After Yu Shanshan's miscarriage, Zhou Xijin pulled out all the stops to pursue me. His antics gave me splitting headaches, so I had no choice but to call the police. The officers gave him a stern warning. As we stepped out of the police station, he blocked my path and declared, Yushi, we're meant to be together. This time I won't let you down. You have my word. My instincts zeroed in on the loaded words he'd chosen. Though suspicious, I didn't press him, just scoffed instead. Zhou Xijin, what exactly are you bringing to the table? Your failing company, that mortgaged condo, or that grubby little carrot of yours? What do you have besides that mountain of debt weighing you down? Keep harassing me and I'll have you charged with disorderly conduct. See how you like jail. With that, I got in the car and drove off without another word. Zhou Xijing didn't contact me for a whole week, which struck me as odd. Logically speaking, he'd never give up that easily. The man's utterly vain, otherwise, he wouldn't have impersonated me to pursue relationships, and to him, I'm the perfect shortcut. That night, around midnight, Uncle Wang suddenly called me. Miss, something terrible has happened, something truly disastrous. Uncle Wang, what's wrong? I asked urgently. Yu Shanshan stabbed Zhou Xijing over 10 times. I was shocked and immediately asked, did he die? Zhou Xijing survived, but that woman is dead. Uncle Wang said Zhou Xijing turned the tables and killed him instead. Zhou Xijing only sustained minor injuries elsewhere, but lost most of his manhood. I still don't know how Yu Shanshan managed that, yet Yu Shanshan was killed with a single fatal strike. In this lifetime, she didn't die from the abortion, but was killed by Zhou Xijing's own hand. The police classified this case as mutual combat, and Zhou Xijing was sentenced to 8 years for involuntary manslaughter, inside the prison. He kept pestering relentlessly, demanding to see me. Through the glass partition, holding the receiver, I looked at Zhou Xijing in his prison jumpsuit and smiled. This outcome pleases me greatly. Why did you save her? He asked me. I consented. That stupid woman was meant to die in that clinic. It was her fate. If she died, we could have lived happily. You would have forgiven me. Yan Yushi, you love me, don't you? I tapped the microphone and sneered. Zhou Xijing, wake up, love you. Are you out of your mind? I came to see just how miserable your life has become. Yet he produced a forged psychiatric evaluation, telling the police I had severe mental illness. Isn't she your one true love? Didn't you say she wouldn't die without me? That's why I won't let her die on that abortion table. With those words, I hung up the phone. I saw the unmistakable shock, terror, and fury flashing in Zhou Xijing's eyes. Zhou Xijing's days in prison were miserable, penniless, powerless, and utterly broken. Everyone looked down on him, itching for a chance to beat him up. 2 years later, during my college graduation ceremony, Uncle Wang called to tell me Zhou Xijing had died. 11. Uncle Wang said he couldn't endure the inmates' relentless bullying anymore. When the guards weren't looking, he bashed his head against the cell wall, died on the spot. The moment I heard Zhou Xijing had died, an immense relief washed over me. A smile blossomed across my face. In this lifetime, I'm finally free from his shadow. The end. Story 2. My husband is dead, because his first love committed suicide. Before she died, his first love left a letter. I wish I could be your wife in the next life. Lu Jinan seemed calm at that time, but that night, I heard the sound of running water in the bathroom. When I pushed the door open, I found Lu Jinan lying in the bathtub. Next to him was a letter with bold, scrawled handwriting. Okay, I'm coming to find you. After 5 years of marriage. I never knew that Lu Jinan was so deeply in love with her. When I opened my eyes, I was reborn back to my high school days. I said to Lu Jinan, who was earnestly doing test papers under the classroom fan, let me tell you a secret. Lin Tang will be your future wife. 1. Lu Jinan and I were childhood sweethearts, and now we have been married for 5 years. At night, I hugged Lu Jinan tightly from behind, rubbing my cheek against the back of his neck, for our wedding anniversary. You promised to go to Haishur with me to see the sea. Lu Jinan kissed my face and said softly, okay. Before boarding the plane, Lu Jinan started to be absent-minded for some reason. He asked me, can we not go? What? I was busy looking up travel guides and didn't hear him clearly. Lu Jinan lowered his eyelashes and touched my cheek with his fingertips. It's nothing. When we arrived in Haishur by plane, the sea breeze was gentle and cool. However, Lu Jinan looked pale and said he was airsick, so he went back to the hotel. Worried, I turned back to the hotel to find him. When I opened the door, Lu Jinan wasn't resting. Instead, he was pacing back and forth, making phone calls. An unusual look of anxiety and restlessness appeared on his stern face, but no one answered the calls on the other end. I asked with concern, what's wrong? Lu Jinan was startled, quickly put down his phone, and forced a smile at me. It's okay. I can't get in touch with the company's HR manager. Lu Jinan was a real workaholic and hadn't had a vacation for several years. Once I asked Lu Jinan why he worked so hard. He pinched my nose affectionately and smiled. To support you, my little princess. I went over and leaned my head gently on Lu Jinan's chest. Don't work too hard, I feel. He hugged me and smiled. Okay. I didn't notice that his voice was slightly hoarse. I dragged Lu Jinan to try the signature barbecue there. The freshly served barbecue smelled delicious and was sizzling with heat. I ate heartily, but Lu Jinan kept looking at his phone and seemed to find the food tasteless. I took his phone domineeringly and put it in my coat pocket. Lu Jinan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The barbecue restaurant was indoors, and there was a LCD TV in front of the tables and chairs. The TV was broadcasting the latest entertainment news. The serious female anchor reported, at 9 a.m. this morning, the famous actress Lin Tang was found dead at home. The cause of death was severe depression. She took an overdose of sleeping pills, and foul play has been ruled out. Before her death, Lin Tang wrote a suicide note, which read, "I wish I could be your wife in the next life." As is known to all, Lin Tang never married or had children in her life and dedicated all her energy to her acting career. Now, her suicide due to love is truly tragic. With a clatter, the chopsticks in Lu Jinan's hand fell on the wooden floor, making a loud noise. I looked at Lu Jinan and found that his face was as pale as paper. His dark pupils were trembling violently, and his pale lips were moving, but no sound came out. I had never seen Lu Jinan, who was always calm and composed, in such a state. After a while, Lu Jinan finally came to his senses. He pursed his lips slightly and calmed down, saying, "It's okay, I'm just a little dizzy." After that, Lu Jinan seemed normal. He even went on a cruise with me and walked through the lavender fields. I in happiness but ignored the suppressed despair hidden in his eyes. In the middle of the night, I heard an unusual sound of running water while I was sleeping. I got up and pushed open the bathroom door. I was shocked by the scene in front of me. Lu Jinan was lying face up in the bathtub filled with water. The blood flowing from his left wrist had dyed the entire bathtub red, and his right hand hung down, feebly holding a blood-stained knife. I cried and tried to pull Lu Jinan out. Lu Jinan was on the verge of death, he whispered, his voice as faint as a mosquito's, but it rang in my ears like a thunderclap. "Lin Tang, I love you, too." These words echoed in my mind. Even when the ambulance arrived and the medical staff rushed to carry Lu Jinan onto the stretcher, I still couldn't react. I waited outside the emergency room all night like a walking corpse. When the operating room lights went out, the doctor came out, took off his mask, and said to me regretfully, "Sorry, we did our best." My legs went weak, and I stumbled twice before collapsing to the ground. In my heart, besides sadness, there was more confusion. Before I followed the ambulance to the hospital, I saw a letter that had been blown to the ground next to Lu Jinan. His handwriting was bold and vigorous, and with the most passionate and profound emotions. He wrote, "Okay, I'm coming to find you." My heart was shattered by these 5 words, and tears of disbelief welled up in my eyes instantly. In high school, Lin Tang was Lu Jinan's first love, but during all the years we were together, Lin Tang never appeared in our lives. While waiting for the operation, I took out Lu Jinan's phone, which I had always kept in my coat pocket and never looked through before. I was shaking so violently that I could barely hold the phone. After unlocking the phone, I realized that the calls he said were to the department manager were actually all made to a strange number in another place. The note was, "Little darling." My heart constricted when I saw this address. Just 10 minutes before we boarded the plane, "Little darling," sent Lu Jinan the last message. "I'm really, really tired. I still can't stand seeing you with someone else. I wish you and your wife a happy life. See you in the next life." The next second, Lu Jinan replied urgently, "What's wrong? Don't scare me, Lin Tang. I give up." "Okay, I'll divorce her." But Lin Tang never replied again. My heart was torn apart by Lu Jinan's words, "I'll divorce her," and the excruciating pain spread through my body. I remembered Lu Jinan's strange behavior on the plane. He wore headphones to listen to music but frowned and fidgeted restlessly. There were several pages of red missed call records. Lu Jinan, who was always cold and distant, persistently made call after call. Lu Jinan was always rational and steady and had never lost his composure in front of me like this before. But now, he had followed his little darling and left me behind. 3. I returned home from Haishur and couldn't recover for many days. After graduation, I had no contact with Lin Tang and never knew that Lu Jinan was so deeply in love with her. All the years I had spent with Lu Jinan seemed like a lie. I had never really known the real him. The storm continued. Lu Jinan's suicide became known. The timing was too coincidental, and they were even from the same class and the same graduating class at Beilin High School. Some people quickly dug up the relationship between Lu Jinan and Lin Tang in their youth and posted it on a video sharing website. It went viral overnight. During their sentimental school days, he laughed and she played, but later, for unknown reasons, they went their separate ways and never expressed their hidden love again. They shined in different fields, but no matter how high they climbed, they no longer had the right to embrace each other. My heart was completely empty. And I numbly watched those videos over and over again. When Lu Jinan attended corporate events in a suit, his eyes never left Lin Tang, who was invited onto the stage in a red dress. His eyes were filled with nostalgia and pain. On Lu Jinan's Weibo private account, he wished Lin Tang a happy birthday at 0, 00 on the same day every year. He posted a picture of the little rabbit that Lin Tang liked the most and said cautiously and affectionately, "Happy birthday, Lin Tang." Even the cheap wristwatch that Lu Jinan always carried with him and wouldn't let others touch casually was a gift from Lin Tang many years ago. The flamboyant and charming actress and the noble and self-controlled corporate executive loved each other but couldn't be together. They were filled with regret until they both died for love. Everyone was in tears, lamenting that they were a real-life version of Liang Shanbua and Zhu Yingtai. And I, the original wife, was like the female Ma Wenkai. I laughed and cried like I had gone crazy. Lu Jinan and I had been childhood sweethearts for 20 years. Even when his family fell on hard times, I found various excuses to help him, for fear of hurting his pride. After graduating from university, I accompanied Lu Jinan to start from scratch. We lived in rental apartments and ate instant noodles. In the biting cold of winter, we hugged each other for warmth in the cold quilt. He kissed me and we imagined all the things we would do in the future, but all this companionship couldn't compare to Lin Tang, who he had only caught a glimpse of in high school. Did my time and youth mean nothing in Lu Jinan's eyes? I never expected that. My private information was dug up. Just as I was on my way to pick up Lu Jinan's ashes, a group of fanatics blocked my way. The leader of the group threw sulfuric acid at me, her face distorted as she shouted, "You mistress who destroyed Lin Tang and Lu Jinan, die." The concentrated sulfuric acid splashed into my eyes and corroded my face. The intense pain was unbearable. I raised my head and stood up, but I was being stared at by the whole class. "Jiang Qianyao, not only did you sleep in my class, but you also talked in your sleep. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because your family is rich." 4. As my mind cleared, my dizzy vision gradually became clear. I saw my high school homeroom teacher looking at me angrily, and I saw Lu Jinan, who was sitting next to me, with a straight posture, wearing a school uniform, and looking straight at the blackboard. He was wearing black, framed glasses at this time, with his hair scattered over his forehead, exuding youthful vitality. I heard someone whispering, "Miss Jiang is pestering Lu Jinan to tutor her again. Too bad she can't improve. And all she does is sleep all day. Lu Jinan must be the top student in the grade, has been taken a fancy to by a rich girl." The homeroom teacher roared, "Jiang Qianyao, come and answer this question. If you can't answer it, stand outside." My university major had nothing to do with science, and I had long forgotten all the knowledge I learned in high school. I looked at the jumping math symbols on the blackboard in a daze. 1/3. A deep voice reminded me, 1/3. Instead of answering with this easy-to-get answer, I said, "Teacher, I don't know." As soon as I finished speaking, I picked up my textbook and walked out. I saw the surprised look in Lu Jinan's eyes. There was no other reason. Since this answer was given by Lu Jinan, I didn't want it. When I was a teenager, I was playful. After entering the top class, I became the bottom student. I casually entered a second-rate university near Lu Jinan's university. While Lu Jinan was a well-known top student, relying on our long-standing childhood friendship, whenever I couldn't answer questions in class, Lu Jinan would help me. After Lu Jinan's family fell on hard times, I even paid him a generous salary under the pretext of tutoring fees. Because of my blatant favoritism towards Lu Jinan, many people secretly laughed at me for being Lu Jinan's sycophant, but years later, I started a business with Lu Jinan. I changed from a pampered young lady to someone who could keep going after being repeatedly rejected when seeking investment and being humiliated. Looking at Lu Jinan, who was a bit more immature compared to the future, I felt mixed emotions, and hatred welled up in my heart unconsciously. In this life, I will never make the same mistakes again. After class, I stood for a whole class, and my legs were sore. I leaned against the wall and kicked my heels. Then I saw Lu Jinan walking straight towards me with a workbook in his hand. He asked me gently, "Are you tired?" I've explained this question several times. This time, I wrote down the analysis steps. "Take a good look at it again." Lu Jinan smiled and handed me the open workbook, which had notes written in red pen. His handwriting was beautiful and neat. Just looking at the handwriting, I remembered that windy and cold night and his 5 bold, passionate words, 2 years ago. Lu Jinan's family went bankrupt overnight. His father fled, and his mother was depressed all day. He was mocked as a down and out noble young man who only had his pride left, and many people came to bully him. I rushed forward to protect him like a proud hen, but in the end, I was the one who was laughed at. In my previous life, after Lu Jinan died, I saw the diary he had saved on his phone long ago. "Lin Tang is a ray of light that shines into my hopeless life." As for Jiang Qianyao, she just humiliated me with money when I was at my lowest. I didn't take the workbook and said coldly and distantly, "Lu Jinan, you don't have to come and tutor me after school anymore. I won't use tutoring fees to hurt your fragile self-esteem either. 5. Hearing my words, Lu Jinan's hand holding the workbook paused slightly, then the emotion in his eyes faded, and he said gently, "Stop making trouble. It's our senior year of high school. If I don't tutor you, who will? Are you still mad because I said I regarded you as my little sister yesterday?" Yes, at the age of 18, Lu Jinan was well aware of my crush on him, but at the corner of the stairs yesterday, he casually told someone, "Jian Chen Yao, I just regard her as my dearest little sister." He raised his hand to ruffle my hair to soothe me. His cold eyebrows and eyes showed a hint of affection, which made me sick with its hypocrisy. I swatted his hand away and said coldly, "Don't touch me." His fair hand was slapped red by me. Lu Jinan's face froze. At this time, there was a commotion in the corridor. The classmates who had been playing around suddenly all ran towards the office. I heard someone shouting excitedly, "A beautiful girl has transferred to our class." I checked the date. It was indeed this day. Outside the office, there were so many classmates craning their necks to look inside. They stared at Lin Tang, who was standing in the office. And exclamations of admiration came one after another. There was no other reason. She was really beautiful. She had a slender figure, an oval-shaped face, clear big eyes, and a head of slightly curly hair that fell smoothly over her shoulders, making people want to protect her. In her previous life, she also entered the entertainment industry with that pitiful-looking face, became a popular female star, and captured Lu Jinan's heart that summer. Lin Tang and Jian Qianyao look a bit alike. Who do you think is prettier? Of course it's Lin Tang. She won the championship in a modeling competition. She has a great figure and good grades. How can Jian Qianyao, that good-for-nothing vase, compare? Their discussions came one after another, and the smile in Lin Tang's eyes, who was highly sought after, became more and more evident. Just then, a clear voice came from beside me. "I think Yao Yao is prettier." I turned my head and saw Lu Jinan looking nonchalant yet firm. This made everyone look at him in surprise, including Lin Tang, who clearly heard this sentence in the office. Lin Tang gave me a resentful look, with scrutiny and disdain in her eyes. Then she noticed Lu Jinan, who stood out from the crowd, and a strong interest rose in her eyes. She bit her lower lip and said, "This classmate doesn't seem to like me very much." Lu Jinan put his hands in his pockets and said calmly, "I just think my childhood sweetheart is the best." I looked up, and I was reflected in the young man's eyes, but this was nothing but an illusion. I showed a sweet smile and said to Lin Tang, "Classmate, he's lying. He likes your type the most." He liked her so much that he was willing to die for love and give up everything he had worked for. I left Lu Jinan behind and walked away. I didn't care at all about the shocked reactions of everyone present, who looked at each other in disbelief. 6. In the following days, I refused Lu Jinan's repeated offers to tutor me. Lin Tang declared war on me publicly. On the first day, she boldly confessed to Lu Jinan, "Lu Jinan, I like you. I fell in love with you at first sight." Then she sent me the same message as in her previous life. "Although I'm new here, I won't show mercy." I replied indifferently, "Whatever." How did I respond in my previous life? The 18-year-old Jian Qianyao was very proud. "Lu Jinan is mine. You definitely can't steal him." The more confident I was then, the more bitterly I cried in the stairwell when Lin Tang won Lu Jinan's heart later. Lin Tang came aggressively, and the atmosphere in the class became delicate. Curious glances kept shifting among the three of us. I didn't care. I stopped sleeping in class every day and started taking serious notes in all subjects. I went to one-on-one tutoring on weekends, trying my best to catch up on the missed lessons. The classmates in the class guessed that I had changed my ways, and the voices speculating that I was playing hard to get gradually faded away. As soon as class was over, I would grab my school bag and head straight to the library. Even if I met Lu Jinan on the way, I would immediately avoid him. Lu Jinan couldn't stand it anymore. He grabbed my arm and blocked my way, looking hurt. "What did I do wrong? Why have you been avoiding me?" The young Lu Jinan's expression was exactly the same as when we had conflicts after marriage and he was confused about why I was angry. The same thing was that they both had a soul that didn't love me but pretended to. I slowly pulled my hand out of Lu Jinan's. My silence obviously had a different meaning in Lu Jinan's eyes. He sighed and said, "Did what that transfer student said make you unhappy? You're not a child anymore. Don't distance yourself from me because of other people's words." "Okay, Lu Jinan." His words were interrupted. Lin Tang ran over from a distance, with a thin layer of sweat on her nose. She looked at Lu Jinan with a smile. "Jinan, why didn't you tell me you came to the library? Have you eaten the cookies I made? Were they delicious? They're your favorite cranberry flavor." Lin Tang babbled on, showing her undisguised love. Lu Jinan frowned and gave Lin Tang a cold glance. "No. I threw them away. Lin Tang's expression turned sad, but she quickly regained her cheerful look. She reflected on herself. It's okay. It must be that they didn't look good, so you didn't like them. I'll do better next time. The girl's eyes sparkled, as if the whole world was filled with Lu Jinan. Lu Jinan was stunned, then turned his head awkwardly. I saw a faint blush behind his ears. Looking at it now, Lin Tang was really similar to me, both enthusiastic and reckless in doing things. I lowered my eyes and said, "You two talk slowly. I'm leaving first." Lu Jinan instinctively wanted to follow, but Lin Tang hooked his arm and coquettishly said, "Jinan, I have a problem I don't know how to solve. Can you teach me?" 7. The seats in the class were rearranged. Lin Tang took the opportunity to apply to the homeroom teacher to sit next to Lu Jinan. When the homeroom teacher asked for my opinion, I agreed. Many female classmates came to say I was stupid for giving Lin Tang the chance to take over. I kept writing and drawing with my pen, not caring at all. It doesn't matter. What can be taken away was never mine in the first place. Lu Jinan, who was sitting in front of me, heard this and paused in his writing. Then he was in a bad mood the whole day. After class, Lin Tang, who had pestered Lu Jinan for the whole class, came up to him again to ask questions, already in a bad mood. He was extremely annoyed. He simply put down his pen and frowned. "Aren't you supposed to have good grades? Why do you come to ask me such a simple question?" Lin Tang bit her lower lip in embarrassment. "But, I'm not the first one to ask you such questions." She glanced at me meaningfully. I raised my eyebrows and held up the test paper full of red check marks in my hand. "Not to be outdone," Lin Tang pouted and retorted. A rich second generation dressed in designer brands must have famous teachers to teach them, of course. She doesn't need Lu Jinan. Lu Jinan, who was already in a bad temper, became even colder-faced. He said bluntly, "Go away, don't bother me again in the future." Lin Tang didn't expect Lu Jinan to treat her like this. Her eyes immediately filled with tears. She stomped her foot and ran away angrily. Lu Jinan had a gloomy face and a low-pressure aura. It was hard to tell who he was angry with. Lu Jinan buried his head in writing the test paper, and the pen made a rustling sound as it rubbed against the paper. During the summer break, the classroom was empty. The fan above Lu Jinan creaked and spun rapidly, and the wind ruffled his hair. Lu Jinan, I spoke to him for the first time in a long while. He seemed extremely surprised. He looked up, and a glimmer of hope shone in his eyes. Like a puppy that had been abandoned and then picked up again, I opened my lips and showed an ambiguous smile. "Let me tell you a secret. Lin Tang will be your future wife. I advise you to be nice to her, so you don't regret it in the future." 8. I rarely saw Lu Jinan so angry. He was like a wild beast holding back boundless anger. He stood up, crumpled the test paper in his hand, and clenched it tightly. "You don't have to push me towards others. I'm not a toy to be passed around casually." He was also this angry in his previous life. Once after we got married, I was so angry that I blurted out, "Since you can't stand me, let's just get a divorce." At that time, Lu Jinan also looked like this, with anger, disbelief, and a deep sense of vulnerability in his handsome eyebrows and eyes. He hugged me tightly. Despite his tall and broad figure, I could feel his violent trembling. "Don't say such things. Don't leave me." "Yao Yao." The 28-year-old Lu Jinan's voice was broken. Just as helpless and scared as when the 16-year-old him came to me in the middle of the night after his family went bankrupt overnight. He acted so well that even after his death, with all the evidence in front of me, I still couldn't believe that during all the years we were together, he had been in love with Lin Tang. 9. After this incident, I completely stopped talking to Lu Jinan. I was glad for the peace. Provoking me almost became Lin Tang's daily amusement. She sent me all kinds of photos of her time with Lu Jinan. For example, Lu Jinan's slender and fair hand covered Lin Tang's much smaller hand as they made pottery together, an extremely intimate scene, or Lu Jinan making detailed study notes for all subjects for Lin Tang, who had fallen behind after transferring from No. 1 middle school to Bailin High School. The notes were even more detailed than the teaching materials he made when tutoring me, or Lu Jinan taking her to watch the sunrise. When Lu Jinan was so tired that he fell asleep and leaned his head on her shoulder, his handsome profile seemed to shine brightly in the morning sun. She almost replicated the things Lu Jinan and I had done. Looking at the photos I posted on my public moments, Lin Tang sent me these photos in my previous life. I was so angry then that I went up to her and slapped her twice with my phone in hand. These photos also made Lu Jinan think that I was deliberately targeting Lin Tang and being unreasonable. After graduating from university, I gave up living in my large villa and lay in a run-down rental apartment. While Lu Jinan focused on technology, I went out to seek investment. We huddled together for warmth after facing repeated rejections and exhaustion. I played with Lu Jinan's fingers and said, "When you become successful in the future, let's travel around the world together. Go skiing in Switzerland, and feed the pigeons in Italy." He pinched my nose and promised that he would definitely drop everything and go with me. But as the company thrived, Lu Jinan sold his shares at the peak, cashed out, and joined a more promising company as a CTO. Although there was money, those promises were never mentioned again. Looking at their photos today, I felt nothing inside. I turned around, made a collection of these photos, and posted them on Moments. The caption was simple and clear: "Wish you everlasting love." I didn't block anyone and was completely open about it. Soon, my comment section was flooded with a series of question marks. After a long time, Lu Jinan only replied with one word: "Okay." After this incident, everyone believed that Lu Jinan and I had fallen out, and I finally had some peace and quiet. When the homeroom teacher heard about this, she was very touched. She took me to the office to show her concern. She was so excited that her saliva almost sprayed on my face. "You've made great progress now. Finally, you're not focusing all your attention on Lu Jinan. You're sure to get good grades in the college entrance examination." 10. Lu Jinan gradually opened up his closed heart to Lin Tang. During a rare PE class when we played games and Lin Tang was knocked down and let out a cry, Lu Jinan immediately walked over. His eyes were filled with worry. He pulled Lin Tang up and said roughly, "Are you stupid? Why are you so careless?" When she fell asleep on the desk, Lu Jinan would turn around and use an open book to block the sunlight that shone through the gaps in the blinds. Without disturbing anyone, the golden sunlight cast shadows in the classroom, the sleeping girl and her dedicated knight. Finally, Lu Jinan and Lin Tang got together. The gossipy glances of the classmates in the class all drifted towards me from time to time. But I didn't care because I was preparing for the final exam. My grades improved rapidly, not only because I focused my mind but also because I had been tempered by the adult world. When the homeroom teacher announced in surprise that I had ranked among the top 30 in the grade, Lu Jinan, who was immersed in his love with Lin Tang, turned his head and looked at me in surprise. He finally noticed that my long hair, which used to reach my waist like a waterfall, had been cut short to just reach my shoulders, and the colorful beaded bracelet he gave me for my 15th birthday was gone. 11. After school, he hesitated for a moment. Unusually, he didn't leave with Lin Tang but called me. "Yao Yao, where's the bracelet?" He pointed at my wrist. My wrist was empty. Lu Jinan had kept Lin Tang's gift for 10 years, while I had worn this bracelet for 13 years. I threw it away. I threw it in the trash on the first day of my rebirth. Lu Jinan took a deep breath and quickly accepted this fact. "Lin Tang and I are together. I know you don't like her, but please get along well with her. She will be your sister-in-law in the future." I smiled. I had chased after Lu Jinan for 5 years before I finally got what I wanted, but Lin Tang didn't have to do anything, and Lu Jinan already placed her firmly in his future. He didn't notice anything strange about me and continued, "I know you're angry and have distanced yourself from me because I said you were like a sister to me, but," he took a deep breath, seemingly lacking confidence, "you can't force feelings. We'll be family from now on." The Lu Jinan in front of me was extending an olive branch, telling me it was time to end the Cold War and step down from my high horse. "I haven't had a good meal with you for a long time." "Yeah," I replied. Lu Jinan's eyes lit up, as if he saw hope for reconciliation. And then he continued, "My mom cooks really well." I raised my hand and slapped Lu Jinan across the face, the sound loud and clear. Lu Jinan turned his head and then slowly turned back to look at me. My eyes were filled with tears, and he was stunned. I said word by word, "Lu Jinan, you're such a bastard." 12. The college entrance examination was approaching, and my pressure was getting greater and greater. I was almost pulling my hair out to relax. The homeroom teacher took us on a picnic in the nearby mountains as the last group activity after the college entrance examination. I happened to be in the same group as Lin Tang. As more and more people left, she approached me. In a sinister tone, she said, "Jiang Chen Yao, I saw Lu Jinan come to you after school that day." Lin Tang leaned close to my ear. "So what if you like Lu Jinan? He's mine now." I wasn't interested and didn't even bother to lift my eyelids. "Do you know why I transferred to Beilin High School in my senior year?" Seeing that I wasn't interested, Lin Tang threw out another topic. "Because I saw you and Lu Jinan buying textbooks in the bookstore." His eyes were smiling, and he kept looking at you. I thought it was interesting and also very annoying. She showed a triumphant smile, looking like a winner. "You come from a good family, you're beautiful. Your love life can't be smooth too, can it?" Lin Tang gloated, her eyes revealing cunning. I knew Lin Tang came from an ordinary family, but I never imagined that she had been jealous of me all along, or that she had such a twisted personality. I voiced the question that had been on my mind for a long time. Do you really like Lu Jinan? Lin Tang laughed, her eyes and brows brimming with arrogance. It was just for fun. He has nothing left except your affection for him. Didn't you notice that I've been imitating you in everything I do? He fell for it. Just as I expected, he's too stupid to realize his own feelings for you, and you're just as naive. Yes, I was too naive. I gave my heart to the world sincerely, only to end up bruised and broken. 13. Lin Tang made one fatal miscalculation. I recorded her words with the phone in my pocket and forwarded them to Lu Jinan. I was eager to see his reaction. Sometimes, youthful pride outweighs emotions. Lu Jinan and Lin Tang had a falling out. Someone saw Lu Jinan pinning Lin Tang against the wall by her neck, his eyes bloodshot as he angrily demanded answers from her. Watching the person you once liked have their true nature revealed layer by layer, like peeling an onion, it must be an awful feeling, right? I hope he could understand how I felt back then. There were 30 days left until the college entrance examination. 14. On the day of the third mock exam, Lu Jinan suddenly disappeared. All the teachers were frantic trying to find him. They contacted his parents and searched his home, but there was no trace of him. He didn't show up even after the two-day exam was over. Exhausted, I walked home and saw a man dressed in black standing in front of my house. My nerves tensed up, and I gripped the personal alarm in my hand tightly. Yao Yao. It was Lu Jinan. He had lost so much weight that I could barely recognize him. His voice was unsteady, filled with subtle despair. He rushed over and hugged me, his body trembling violently. The feeling was exactly the same as the Lu Jinan from my past life. He murmured, I had a very long dream, so long that it terrified me. I dreamed that we were together, and then we got married. Because of Lin Tang, I left on our wedding anniversary, leaving you alone to face the storms of the world. He spoke slowly, as if describing a nightmare from which he could never wake up. I saw your facial features being corroded by sulfuric acid. You fell to the ground, screaming in agony, with my urn lying beside you. Everyone around jeered at you, and no one came to your aid. You loved beauty and hated pain so much. How excruciating it must have been when you were splashed with acid. His voice was so hoarse that it was almost inaudible. I dreamed that you were finally taken to the hospital. Unable to accept your disfigured appearance, you committed suicide by jumping off a building on a spring day when your wounds were itching. I don't believe it. Tears welled up in his eyes and spilled over. This isn't real, is it? He looked at me with a manic glint, his eyes bloodshot, desperately hoping for a denial. I sneered, suppressing the overwhelming sense of grievance and indignation welling up inside me. It's all true. Lu Jinan staggered back in disbelief, then dropped to his knees in front of me, his once proud spine bent, as if it had been shattered. He buried his face in his hands, and tears streamed through his fingers as he began to sob. I'm sorry for you. He seemed to have lost his mind, rambling incoherently. After I died, as a spirit, I saw that Lin Tang wasn't dead at all. She had offended someone in the country and faked her death to escape. Jealous of our happy marriage, she deliberately texted me saying she was going to kill herself. How could I be so stupid? We were married for 5 years. So happy, we were planning to have a baby next year. His face contorted with pain. I destroyed it all. He couldn't tell the difference between the past life and the present. Lost in madness, I felt nothing. Watching Lu Jinan in such a pathetic state, I only felt contempt. I left him there, sobbing and repenting, and walked away without looking back. 15. Lu Jinan and Lin Tang broke up completely. The college entrance examination arrived soon. A few sheets of paper determined the outcome of 3 years of hard work. I wrote without stopping, drawing a perfect conclusion to those 3 years. Lu Jinan performed poorly in the exam. His scores were just barely enough to get into a key university, and he became a cautionary example for the teachers. Lin Tang made the same choice as in her past life, astonishing everyone by giving up on university and choosing to enter the entertainment industry on her own. And I, the one least expected to succeed at first, became the dark horse of the school. My scores were even high enough to get into University A. When my parents saw my results, they were overjoyed, constantly praising me for my intelligence. We held a grand feast at home, and relatives congratulated me with beaming smiles. Lu Jinan sent me text messages over and over again, tentatively asking where I planned to apply. If it was University A, I guessed he wanted to apply to a school in the same city as me. When the acceptance letter arrived, I was admitted to the top major at University W, which was a full 2,000 kilometers away from the university where Lu Jinan was admitted. Life is too short and unpredictable. I want to learn many things. I thought I could finally have some peace, but in the first month of university, I saw Lu Jinan downstairs of my dormitory. He looked travel-worn, his face etched with the exhaustion of a long journey. Yao Yao. I'm sorry for you. He looked at me intently, his eyes filled with pleading. I cared so much about Lin Tang before because I felt guilty towards her. I've always felt bad, thinking that it was my comment about her being beautiful and photogenic that made her become a star. I never expected her to commit suicide. I was consumed by guilt, and that's why I just realized now that I've always loved you. I remembered all this to atone for my sins, looking at his broken expression. I felt as desperate as I did when I witnessed his suicide. I curled my lips and said, I saw the messages on your phone. His face turned pale instantly. You told Lin Tang that you admitted defeat, asked her not to die, and said you would divorce me. After all those years together, you were thinking about Lin Tang every single moment. We supported each other through thick and thin, but on our wedding anniversary, you made me see my husband's dead body with my own eyes. Is this what you call love? Finally, with disgust in my voice, I said coldly, leave, I never want to see you again. My roommates said they saw a man standing in the same spot all night. He was like a silent statue. 16, I thought Lu Jinan would give up, but he crossed 2,000 kilometers to see me every month. He didn't bother me. He just took a distant look and left. Every time, he would quietly leave a gift behind. Sometimes it was a bouquet of roses, sometimes a beaded bracelet, and sometimes souvenirs from all over the world. The love and gifts that were overdue from the past life finally arrived in this life, but I didn't keep any of them. I threw them all away. I didn't need them anymore in this life. When I received the gift for the 10th time and saw Lu Jinan's desolate back, I called out to him. A glimmer of hope lit up in Lu Jinan's eyes, colder than the night, but it was extinguished by my words. Don't come again. Every time I see you, I have nightmares. What kind of nightmares? The answer was obvious. All the color drained from his face, and his eyes returned to their bottomless darkness. After a long while, he replied dejectedly, okay. Lu Jinan kissed my cheek gently and said, okay, but he still insisted on wishing me a happy birthday every year. Happy birthday, Jian Qianyao. May every year be free.